And as you follow today's journey along with me, don't forget to share your highlights because we're also very social on social media using the hashtag join the food soldiers. Again, join the food soldiers before you spread anything out, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. Let your network know that you're actively part of this important conversation, and hopefully this conversation continues with fruitful benefits. So, just a heads up before we get things started, some technical notes and some information for you. We have photographers and videographers with us today. If you prefer not to be taken a photo of, just let them know. So, I'll just call them Sabina and Ken. Can you just wave? Sabina, there is Sabina, and there you have Ken. Nice, lovely faces, doesn't it? And if you have any objection, just let them know, and kindly they will exclude you from the photos and videos. All right. So as mentioned, we do have a lot of languages that are passing on through this program, and some of you who are more rich in the French language or English language, or so to say. Ooh, let me drop the volume here. Will have this as your kit, and it will help you to understand the dynamics of the conversations. So, with that said, it's very easy. It's not an iPhone, thank God. So here we have the switch on and off button, which is very present on the front. On the left, you have the volume, which is up and down, which is according to the volume that you want, and the channel. Channel 1 is French, channel 2 is English. So hopefully that goes well. If anything is to happen or a panic moment and you can't figure it out, just see the sound or technician or any of our team, and we'll be ready to help you out. Let's go. So before we dive into today's discussion, I'm excited to announce that this is not just any symposium. It's very special here at Film House. You'll be the first to view an inspiring documentary, which is also produced by 2SCALE in collaboration with Makmende Media. This documentary follows Nigerian photojournalist and filmmaker Benson as he embarks on a journey to uncover the causes and solutions to Nigeria's growing food insecurity crisis. Along the way, Benson highlights the key players, smallholder farmers, SMEs, and other supporting entities who acts as food soldiers. So the theme is really going to come alive. Food soldiers on the front lines in their quest for food security. So, before we screen the documentary and onward into the program, I have a very special guest that I would like to welcome to the stage. She has led 2SCALE programs since 2021, passionately dedicated to driving sustainable economic development in sub-Saharan Africa, a wealth of experience in the private sector and expertise in African development cooperation. She also contributes her knowledge through advisory roles on platforms and organizations such as Include and Harvest Plus Solution. So please join me, give a warm welcome for Mrs. Marina Dipoma.
You hear me? Yes. Thank you very much for this wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour, bonsoir. Distinguished guests, partners, colleagues, and friends. I would like also to give a special welcome to our esteemed partners, government representatives, members of the donor community, and all our guests joining us both in person and online. It is my honor to welcome you to the premiere of Food Soldiers Promoting Inclusive Agribusiness with 2SCALE and the launch of our interactive magazine. I would like to acknowledge the unwavering commitment and resilience of the actors on the ground in countries where 2SCALE has been implemented in phase 1 from 2012 to 2018 and phase 2, 2019 to 2024. Your initiative, co-investment, and dedication to achieving food security are truly commendable and have been instrumental in driving sustainable development and inclusive growth. And thanks to your efforts, opportunities for youth and women to thrive and actively participate in value chains have been created and significantly increased. Each actor is recognized in this value chain as entrepreneurs contributing uniquely to our shared mission. Some of you are present in this room, some are joining online. Please give them a warm applause. Because without all these actors, the two-scale approach could have never been implemented. It is also an opportunity to acknowledge the continuous support and trust of the Dutch government through the Directorate General for International Cooperation. Because they have trusted us, they've also supported us throughout these 12 years, and we are very grateful for that. A big thank you to all consortium organizations who have worked on this program. Let me mention ICRA, SNV, BOPINC, PRC, and IFDC. Last but not least, I would like to acknowledge the resilience of the 2SCALE team. Your dedication and hard work have been pivotal in overcoming challenges and achieving our goals in promoting inclusive agribusiness and food security. Some of my colleagues are present in the room, and some are following online. Please give them also a warm welcome, a warm applause. Thank you. We know it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy through all the challenges we have faced as a team, but yet many of you stayed committed to our mission. Today marks an important milestone in our journey towards achieving food security and sustainable agricultural development in Africa. Over the past 12 years, the 2SCALE program has made significant strides in promoting inclusive agribusiness. We have worked tirelessly to empower various actors along agricultural value chains, foster partnerships, and created market opportunities that drive economic growth and social impacts. So today, you will hear inspiring stories from the field, highlighting the transformative impact of our interventions. These stories are a real testament to the power of public-private partnerships and collaboration. As we celebrate our successes, it is not to say that we did not face any challenges. From climate change to political instability, the COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain disruptions due to Russia-Ukraine war, to market access issues. So our journey has been full of obstacles, as you can hear. And despite this, everyone stayed committed to feeding local communities in their countries. However, yet these challenges were difficult, but we also learned a lot from them. These lessons made us possible to strengthen and improve our intervention strategies. And as a program, we had to adapt to new realities and refine how we collaborate on the ground. This is the reality we face to ensure that millions of people have access to nutritious and affordable food products. These experiences underscore the importance of resilience and innovation in promoting food security. We are gathered here today for the presentation of a 30-minute documentary and the launch of our interactive magazine that synthesizes the knowledge and experience the program developed over the past 12 years. The premiere of Food Soldiers, Promoting Food Security in Africa, is not just a film screening. It is a reflection of real-life experiences, of our collective efforts, challenges, and successes over the past 12 years. I noticed that the title Food Soldiers already created a lot of discussions, spiked discussions online, but also lively with some of our partners. But let me also give the perspective of 2SCALE, why we chose the title Food Soldiers. Food Soldiers symbolizes the dedication and relentless efforts of individuals and organizations combating food insecurity and enhancing food systems. It reflects their hard work, commitment, courage, and resilience in this critical fight, emphasizing that collective action is essential for meaningful change. Food soldiers are the champions in the ongoing fight for food security, and their efforts are vital in fostering resilience and sustainability within our communities. So just as soldiers work together to achieve a common objective, this term underscores the importance of collaboration among various players in the agricultural sector. So by recognizing these individuals as food soldiers, we inspire others to join the fight for sustainable and inclusive food systems, ensuring that access to nutritious food for all becomes a reality. As we look to the future, our commitment to fostering inclusive agribusiness remains strong. Through the 2SCALE approach, we will continue to innovate, to collaborate, and advocate for policies that support sustainable agricultural development. It is important to acknowledge that we are not just here gathered this afternoon to discuss 2SCALE. The room is full of inspiring, like-minded organizations from this sector, and they are going to highlight their experiences, to share their knowledge, and I hope we all learn from their insights and that we leave this symposium more inspired and informed than the way we arrived. I hope you find today's discussions insightful and inspiring. And to conclude with an African proverb that says, "One hand cannot tie a bag. Many hands are needed to achieve this." So it's my invitation to you all to join us in this mission. Together, we can create a future where food security is a reality for all. We can make it happen, so let's do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marina. That was a well and a warm welcome to everybody. All right, so we're moving on to the next. To give us further insights into the program's impact, it is my pleasure to introduce to you one of its key implementers who has been very instrumental in promoting soil health as a cornerstone of sustainable agriculture development and climate change mitigation. With extensive leadership experience across Africa, Asia, and Europe, it is rich. So let me help me to welcome the President and CEO of IFDC, Mr. Henk van Duin. Mr. Henk van Duin, come on. The floor is yours. Feel free to. This is my.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I had to share 10 minutes with Marina. So, and sorry to the translator, sorry for everybody online. I have to talk speak a little bit slower because I didn't hand in a written out presentation. And as already was said, because Marina already explained what 2SCALE is all about and why we are here. But let's take us back 10, 12, 15 years in a political context which looks a bit as of today with different parties, to be clear, but at least with a tight budget on development cooperation. 15 years ago, Monique Calon, Rob Groot, André de Jager, Arno Maatman created something which is nowadays a brand. And it was an approach which was not common in Dutch development cooperation. An approach where private sector development was the driver. Dutch private sector was the driver. because development cooperation aid should be tied to the benefits and the trade opportunities of the Netherlands in Africa. And we all know Dutch companies are not that often active as investors in Africa. Asia, other continents are much more of interest. Or trade is a main driver, especially agribusiness and agriculture trade is a main driver of the Netherlands. But the idea was, if we can create partnerships in value chains, creating value addition in country, and we can strengthen local economies, there would be a direct incentive from African companies to invest in Dutch technology, Dutch knowledge, and especially in opportunities for trade. And that's what 2SCALE became 15 years ago. So when we started in 2012, the incentive of the ministry was sign 10 partnerships with Dutch companies. Otherwise, you have to pay your money back. Monique, it was the first driver within Dutch Parliament to talk about result-based funding. We only got 42 million euros at that time. We were still in the euros. But there was an incentive. If we would not sign up these 10 agreements with Dutch partners, we would pay this 42 million back. So you can imagine that my predecessors from implementing organizations, at that time IFDC, ICRA, and Bob Inc., were quite worried about that. Signing a contract with development cooperation with a result-based framework if we would not deliver. Luckily, in the end, as we always do in the Netherlands, we worked it out because we didn't sign up these 10 contracts. Although, one of our biggest contracts is still the driver of one of the best partnerships within 2SCALE. And I'm very pleased that John is here representing FC Wamco of 12 years of dairy development program, which is a close collaboration between 2SCALE and FC Wamco in Nigeria. And the reason why I mentioned that, because there is another one which I will mention. But what happened in Nigeria was that the 2SCALE approach, as it was designed in the initial ideas 15 years ago with Monique, Rob, Andre, Arno, and others, was that it was really driving the local value chain development. And it's nowadays that the Central Bank of Nigeria requests all other foreign direct investors in dairy to follow the 2SCALE approach as was developed under FC Wamco's leadership. So they have to reach out to Fulani farmers. They have to reach out to Fulani women to bring cattle together, to collect milk in their systems, but also to invest in these local economies to agree on product value addition of products to assure that local consumers have access to healthy yogurt and healthy milk products. A very good example of what 2SCALE is all about. And there are many. Edith will say more about what we do with poultry in Ghana. But another one, which is, for me, a pillar of achievement by itself of what 2SCALE is what Ruth Kinoti will present. And Ruth, sorry to say, we're in this game already for the last 12, 15 years. But Ruth Kinoti is representing Shalom Investments in Kenya. And that's where you see where 2SCALE became a driver of new ways of thinking about value chains. Sorghum producers were united by a private sector partner like Shalom to negotiate with brewers, and at that time it was East Africa breweries for Guinness. But by organizing these farmers, by creating value, by creating value addition out of their sorghum, they developed new products, not only for breweries, but they went into food production, and food processing. And that's what 2SCALE is all about. It's really making the step forward on a continent where food processing, value addition in the value chain is very limited. 2SCALE stood up and created partnerships driven by individual private sector partners in all the countries where we operate to assure that the money is generating the value chain. Money which directly comes from consumers because they are willing to pay for it, for the product they get, because it's tailored towards their needs. But second, processing companies who are directly tied in with farmer groups to produce the raw material they need to develop the products or to produce the product they can offer the market. So I'm here as one of the implementers, representing IFDC, and as Marina already mentioned in her presentation, there are many implementers within 2SCALE. But I'm also here representing the 2SCALians. And if I say 2SCALians, and especially those online know, because 2SCALians are awkward people. They come from different organizations, from different implementers, and you see it here. This is not an end of program presentation. This is a brand presenting a movement. You don't see any logo of IFDC, SNV, Bob Inc., PRC, CARE. Doesn't matter which implementer is part of it. 2SCALians are awkward people. They think in this kind of red, brownish color. They are branded. They see each other as colleagues, as family. And that's why we have a gathering here, because it's not only staff. It are the private sector partners which are working with us, the farmer associations which are working with us. And I mentioned John and I mentioned Ruth. For me, they are family, because we are in this game together already for the last 12 years. And John and I had quite some tough discussions on how to scale this. But that's exactly why the 2SCALians are different. So today is not the end of 12 years to scale. Today is the beginning of selling the approach to many others. Not only private sector partners, but especially also donors. And Wampie is here, and I will not take more time as necessary. The Netherlands government was the main driver, as I said at the beginning of my presentation, of this new approach. And why it was new? Because only the government, not only that it was result-based, but the government said, listen, we will chip in this 40 million at the beginning, but that's only 50% of your total investment. So get the money from the market. Tell those private sector companies you have to chip in the money yourself. And not only the private sector companies, we had to tie in financial institutions to fund these private sector partners. And we could count that investment as well. So why 2SCALE is different? And that's what I said to Wampie 2 weeks ago. DGIS and other donors could fund 25% of the total investment for the coming years. And the program and the approach is capable to generate the other 75% with the private sector partners, with the financial institutions, and with other donors buying in. Because I'm convinced, me as Henk now, I'm convinced that the only way forward, if we talk about food security, is about generating value in the value chain locally. And that only happens when the private sector partners, processors, are directly involved in defining the product at the market to assure that consumers are willing to pay for a product with a margin where the processor will gain from, sure, everybody needs to make money. But where a farmer can get a better price, to assure that the farmer can invest in his own farm, is his own practices, but also in the product and grow his product as a farm, as a family. So economic development starts by organizing the value chain at the private sector level. And I'm convinced that's the way forward, and that's what 2SCALE is all about. And that should continue in the coming years. Doesn't matter in which country. So it's not that it's only the priority countries of the Netherlands, no. We tested it in Egypt, we tested it in South Sudan, which were markets which were completely new. But the model works, the approach works. Other donors are interested. MasterCard, Gates, they all reached out to 2SCALE because they didn't even know who was behind it. They reached out to 2SCALE because that approach was the approach forward to assure that we have food security on the continent in the coming 20 years. So I wish you all a very pleasant engagement with all the partners and private sector partners which are here today. And this is just the beginning, because the approach works. The approach is a movement, and that's why we have food soldiers. We are soldiers ourselves to assure that there is food security and economic prosperity on the continent in the coming 50 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so as we move closer to the premiere of Food Soldiers, I'm honored to introduce our next speaker, Director of IGG at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of the Netherlands and a key supporter of the 2SCALE program. She brings a wealth of experience from her diplomatic and leadership roles, and today she will deliver the keynote address on a collaborative approach towards food security. So please join me as we welcome Ms. Vampi Libon.
So thank you, Augustina, for this kind introduction. Dear colleagues, dear participants, and of course also dear Henk and Marina, for your kind words in the beginning and explaining what we're here for. It's really an honor to speak to you at this symposium on behalf of the Dutch government. I was initially a bit intrigued by the title of the event, Food Soldiers. But I think, Marina, you really make an excellent pitch why this term was used. And I really look forward to the premiere and also the launch of the platform for dialogue of advancing food security in Africa. Food security in Africa, that's what we are here for, and that's what motivated the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and of course IFTC to invest to scaling of inclusive agribusinesses more than 10 years ago. And with serious results on many smallholder farmers, but also on the base of the pyramid consumers. Henk dwelt a bit on it already, but 10 years ago the food security situation in Africa was already reason for serious concern. However, all in all, things were improving, although slowly, and most of all, there was really optimism. Africa was on the rise. Dutch development cooperation policy followed this trend, and more than before, economic self-reliance was at heart of the development objective. Linking aid to trade while focusing on the role of the private sector was a logical consequence of that new perspective. And 2SCALE, with its focus on private sector development, fitted perfectly in the political ambitions. Unfortunately, the trends from back then didn't really persist. The world nowadays is far off track in realizing zero hunger in 2030. Hunger and undernourishment figures stagnate. really at unacceptable high levels. And this is in many places, in difficult context of conflict, instability, and of course also climate change. So compared to 10 years ago, the challenge has become much bigger and more difficult. And also with the Dutch development policy, we try to respond to that. We didn't stop supporting private sector development, but we had to address also other issues. And we broadened the scope. So we also addressed, for example, to include the food and nutrition security as elements in the objectives, all while keeping the focus on private partner organizations, companies and farmer cooperatives that support smallholder suppliers and that also deliver good quality food products to local, national and regional markets. So where do we stand now? To be honest, if you look at the statistics on poverty and hunger and population growth in Africa, the glass is half empty. But if we look at the people, if we look at the young people and how entrepreneurial, how creative and how innovative they are, the glass is definitely half full. The coming decades, sustainable economic growth will take place on the African continent. We are sure of it. And it provides many opportunities for Dutch, African public and private sector collaboration. Some positive examples of the 2SCALE program. Henk already mentioned in Nigeria the school program that was linked on the Fulani milk producers, mostly women, to a milk factory of Friesland Campina Wamco. And I think that he will also participate in the panel later on, so we'll let it, we'll keep it at that. But it's really, what I really liked about this example, it's about replacing the import of milk powder and to substitute that also for local milk production. So it's one element, but I think it's a really important element. Or second example, if you look at the founder of Protein Kisi LA, so she's a woman entrepreneur in Ivory Coast. She was supported by 2SCALE and she scaled up the sourcing for her cassava processing business. She started with 10 farmers and she's now dealing with 10,000 farmers. And so really this example that Henk mentioned earlier about scaling up. And so she managed also to extend the shelf life of her produce from 5 days to 12 months. So really providing this high quality to the baseline consumers. And last example that I wanted to mention to make everything 2SCALE is doing a bit more clear is Sweet and Dried. And they developed an African indigenous vegetable supply chain in Kenya. And these dried fresh vegetables are purchased from smallholder farmers and sold locally. These examples show what is possible, given the large potential of African agriculture. There are plenty opportunities for Dutch private sector to benefit from the rural farmers, as well as rural and urban consumers. Also, we really see that Dutch knowledge and know-how has a role to play there as well. And obviously, a thriving and prosperous Africa is really important also for the world and for Europe. Nevertheless, I think also the public-private cooperation evaluation show that not all partnerships are successful, which can be due to various reasons, such as increasing security in fragile countries, products and services that lack demand, unprofitable businesses, etc., etc. So lessons can be learned from these brilliant failures that we need in order to learn. And we can incorporate those lessons into our actions so that we, in the end, ensure the best socio-economic food and that we, in the end, address the best socio-economic food and nutrition security outcomes. And sometimes less is more. In that respect, the choice of our current government to focus on food security and also very much on water management makes perfect sense. At this point, we still cannot really say how this will work out exactly, but we will soon. And the priorities will be set out by Minister Klever when she will send out a policy paper, which will probably, a policy letter to the Parliament will probably follow in the beginning next year. So wrapping up, I also had an African proverb. We had the African proverb, words are sweet, but they cannot take the place of food. And the proof of the latter is in the eating. The Netherlands is a reliable investor in food security, yearly reaching millions of smallholders and undernourished people. And although there will be a reduced budget for development aid, the Dutch government will stay the course and continue to invest in food security. We will stand with you, the food soldiers, navigating our way to a world without hunger. And I thank you for your attention and look forward to the film and the discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. And thank you for taking us through those stories. Wonderful. All right, so we are actually getting closer to the documentary. Very excited. But before we go onward, I think it's phenomenal to have plenty of languages just wavering in our ears, just here and there. And we would just like to ask for those of you who probably are not using it or might have some seconds that you are not turning on your earpiece, if you could just turn it off or put the volume very low so that still we can hear the speakers, you know, and keep it as coherent. So thank you very much for that. All right, so going on, I'm excited to invite this guest. And before we are going to introduce this exciting film, she is the creative director at Macmenda Media, with over a decade of international experience in documentaries. So that just proves that it's of good quality, and a strong background in journalism. She's dedicated to creating compelling stories. One behind this documentary, please welcome Miss Alessia Barbiero. Here you go. All right.
Yes, I can
Get
see
here
you.
together.
Hi.
Thank
Nice
you
to
for
be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us and really being
It's a
here
pleasure.
to tell about the story. All right, so food soldiers, very empowering.
Yeah.
Why the name food soldiers?
Yeah, I think that I can follow up what Marina already said. I know that for some people can sound a little bit a violent name. We didn't interpret the name in this way. We think that is really a symbol of courage. Yeah. If you think about a soldier is a person that fight for a cause. When you're going to watch this documentary, you will see that there are a lot of people that are fighting for a good cause. Yeah. So I really believe that this term is really well used. Then in my work, I really take care about ethical storytelling a lot. I think that is a really important thing. And the name came from the people on the ground. It didn't came from me. In my first research call with one of the person, Maxwell, I think that is here, it was mentioned, this term, during our call. And I think that if a person owns the terms, if they really feel that is the right way of defining themselves, who am I to say that is not correct? I think that is really powerful and strong.
I love that. And what was your vision for this film? What do you hope to see after we've all seen and experienced this beautiful documentary?
I cannot do any spoiler, but if you arrive at the end, you will realize that the message, the call to action is not for just the people that work at 2SCALE. I think that the message is for everybody in this room and also outside this room. And the topic can really open discussion. This is, I think, that is one of the most beautiful things that we can do. Finding solution for food security is not simple. I'm the less expert about food security here, but I really believe that just making the right question and opening a debate is already a good path. So, and today I think that this is the demonstration. You guys are going to discuss about this. Yeah. In another room, we are going to have another premiere of the same documentary with other people talking about the power of storytelling and using this film as an example. So I really believe that we are opening a discussion. So
I love that. Well, we're joining this path with you. Thank you so much, Alessia. Give her a round of applause. Thank you. All right. So whether you are joining us in person or online, when I say that you have heightened our excitement for the premiere, you have. So let's join and get into this movie. So Mr. Soundman, on to you. Let's go.
I love my country. I've traveled all over Nigeria for work, from the north to the south, with my camera, capturing beautiful landscape and meeting incredible people. My name is Benson. I'm a photojournalist and my camera is my tool. Through it, I see the world, I see the pain, but also the strength of the people. I get to know them. We, Nigerians, are hard workers, you know. There is a Nigerian proverb that says, fine words do not produce food, and I think that it fits perfectly with us. But lately, I've realized that hard work alone isn't enough. Our country is struggling, and we are living on a time bomb.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu declares a state of emergency over food.
26.5 million Nigerians projected to be food insecure in 2024.
Experts fear Nigeria's food inflation could worsen hunger crisis.
Agriculture is our lifeblood, our main source of livelihood. But now, with continuous conflict, lack of security, kidnapping, inflation, and climate change, farmers are facing tough times. But if you know me a bit, you will know that I'm not one to focus on negativity. That's why I want to find solutions, to see if there's something possible to change this. Here, we are at one of the major markets in Lagos. I'm going to ask around to understand how this crisis is affecting people and to explore ways to support those working in various levels of food chain. So we are at the market. We're just asking for the prices of goods in the market. Things are becoming like a little bit expensive, not even a little bit, like a whole lot more expensive, more than 120% increase in the last few months, and it's quite, it's something, so talk about it.
The major challenge we normally get is the increase of the price. Like for instance now, I sent some money to that of a Yobe for them to buy beans for me. The last one I bought was at the rate of 112,000 naira per this size of bag. The price increased to 180. Because I cannot afford that amount based on how much I'm selling it here.
Price of goods and services continue getting higher.
Is this stressing you out personally?
Definitely.
How is this stressing you?
Because there's a decrease to the purchase power of our customers.
Yes. Before, this thing like is 100,000. 95, but now it's 300,000, 290. So the thing is getting worse every day. The thing is increasing every day.
Yellow corn used to buy it 80,000. Now it's 105. 105. It's very, very stressful. Very, very stressful. We that are selling it, we are finding it difficult to buy. The customers are complaining. They used to buy, but the rate they are buying it is not the way they are buying it before. They're buying it less. Somebody that is buying one bag is now buying half bag.
Yes. This is 2,250.
Like that?
2,250.
And before now, how much?
Before now, 2,000.
And you say you get this one from Kano?
Zaria.
And
Zaria,
sir. Which one they come from Zaria?
This one come from Zaria. This one come from Kano.
That one come from Zaria? Oh, wow.
I will go Zaria.
Okay.
I'll go as in.
Wow.
If I go Zaria, where make I go now? Make I give 13 for you.
Give 13 for me.
Thank you. Yeah.
So speaking with the people at the market was not easy. You know how Lagos is. Not everyone wanted to talk or share their struggles. It's difficult to reveal our insecurities. They couldn't point out exactly the reason behind the crisis, and neither a solution for that. But this motivates me even more. I want to discover if there is a way to achieve food security and pinpoint those who can help us achieve it. I promise to visit Zaria and Kano to find out what farmers are dealing with that impacts the prices for buyers and in turn consumers. To really understand what's going on, I need to start at the source. In my online search, I found out that Kano is one of the key areas in Nigeria for growing sorghum and maize, staple crops that have been a traditional food source for rural farmers in northern Nigeria for generations. That's where I'll go to get a closer look at what's happening on the ground. Currently, there is food crisis in the country. I've spoken to some market people and they say that maybe we should go and ask the farmers and maybe they can tell us what the issue is.
We cannot farm. The farm we used to farm, first is this bandit, seriously. We can't go there because of insecurities.
Yeah.
So that is the main problem. Then most of us, you see, we don't have enough income that we will be farming. That's the second reason.
The greatest challenges we have is lack of market for our produce.
Okay.
Because when we produce, there were no available buyers to buy from us. We lack of enough capitals to expand our farming activity or to carry out our farming activities. Then we have what you call insecurity problems. And then another challenge is because we are operating as individuals. And we know that operating individual does not give you synergy of effect. It is now good to come into group.
They are Marian Ahmad Mohammed and Pature Abdullahi. They are both involved in a sorghum partnership that has completely changed things for them and their entire community.
So what is the situation now?
The situation now has changed.
Yeah.
You understand? Because through series of trainings, mobilizations, information sharings, we have changed that scenario. Now, we are already in a group now.
Yes.
We have formed different kind of cooperative society from different clusters. We have different clusters with different cooperative societies operating as a group. So we have that synergy.
This partnership was set up with the backing of 2SCALE, a program that drives inclusive agribusiness projects. Thanks to the connection with two aggregators, they managed to increase the production of nutritious sorghum.
Hi, Japo.
Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Before the farmers, they are working individually, which makes it more difficult for them to access input or access to credit, as well as access technical capacity building. Before, they were aggregating less than 15,000 metric tons annually, which is below their annual demand to their aggregators. But with this partnership, they've been able to achieve 35 to 40,000 metric tons per annum.
Before, I used to farm just, let me say, small farm, but now meeting aggregators, I farm 20, 30 bags.
Okay, of sorghum?
Yes.
White sorghum?
Yes.
These women now produce sorghum products, and they've been able to reach over 50,000 BOP consumers with nutritious sorghum products. They've been strengthened to support these aggregators in their warehouses to clean grains, thereby making daily income.
The aggregators used to give farmers input loan, and then you guys will pay back as grains. So have you received any of that drone as a woman?
Yes, I've received it. Like, let me give example with Nelmarco. They will give us input after farming, then we'll give them the grains.
Okay.
That's how we used to do.
Do you give them all the grains? Or
no, not all. It depends on how they give us the fertilizer. So we are even begging them, it's not enough that they should add
More.
yes, so that we can farm more, because it's only little of us that used to get it. So they should increase it so that we will be able to give more people, so that more people will be farming.
What we can do is the big question. What is the right path or a right path to move forward?
For any societal change, it starts from the ground up. And this community is a typical example of where societal change can start. Yeah, for me, one of the ways to achieve food security in the country is the adoption of the agribusiness cluster, and by providing cheaper inputs to these farmers and also introducing both on-farm, off-farm innovation. And another way we could do that also is introduction of weather forecast information so that the farmers can know the exact time, for instance, to apply fertilizer or to plant, so as to avoid drought and disaster on their farms.
So do you think this involving more farmers would help reduce this food crisis that we currently have in the country?
It will do that, because the more you scale up their productions, the more you have more food in the society.
Meeting the sorghum community was wonderful, and I captured many amazing photos. Seeing them benefit from their land is beautiful, but one question remains in my mind. Is empowering farmers enough to achieve food security? Bye-bye. What I have learned is that to achieve food security, many people need to be involved. It's like a big puzzle, and yes, farmers are a part of it. But they are just the beginning. They need to be motivated, engaged, and supported. However, the key is like putting together a puzzle, and I need to find the other pieces. And farmers, they do work with entrepreneurs. They play another important role. I have a name, Yemisi Ironloye. That's my next meeting.
So I am here at Poultry Foods, and we're going to speak to Mrs. Yemisi Ironloye, aka the Cassava Queen. We want to know the role entrepreneurs are playing in this food crisis fight. Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, ma. Good afternoon. So how is everything?
Fine, thank you.
When I was checking for Sultry, I saw that it was located way into like down Oyo State. So I was thinking like a big company like this will be located outside, like in a big city, in a big town. Tell us why did you choose this place?
The farmers naturally live in the hinterland. They live in the villages. And so we wanted to change the narrative of having farmers coming 300 kilometers to bring their produce to the city. And because we are using cassava as a raw material, cassava is a perishable product. So the factory has to come close to the farmers so that it reduces the burden the farmers go through in having to bring their raw material to the factories. We use cassava as our major raw material to produce starch, high-quality cassava flour, sorbitol, and glucose. The model is an inclusive business model where farmers are in the center stage of the whole concept. And we started with 17 farmers, 3 female and 14 male. Today we are above 10,000 farmers that have been trained, that have been empowered, that have been assisted, that have been elevated from less than $1 a day to at least above $5 a day. Some of them are already in $10, but at least everyone have left the $1 a day minimum. So what we do here basically is we assist them, we train them with agronomic practices, we provide them with herbicides, we provide them with fertilizer, tractorization, so that they are able to use economic of scale to produce their cassava for us, and they can be able to make profit.
What are the challenges you faced coming here? Because the place is really remote.
We had to bring road, everywhere. We had to bring power. we have to bring water, we have to bring every amenities, every infrastructure. And we also have to give the villages. We have to also give the farmers, because we can't be the only one having power. Basically, it's not been easy because we have to back the farmers. Back them, you know what I mean? Mean that we have to fund them. We have to, even when we take them to the bank, we have to provide them with guarantee because they don't have anything as collateral to give the bank to be able to get money to cultivate cassava for us. That's what we've chosen to do. So 2SCALE gave us a 3-year grant, and the grant was, they helped us to employ a top-notch agronomist and a rural extension agent who helped us to organize these farmers, structured the farmers, and help us to have the kind of foundation that we have, that we are building on today.
What makes you proud of this company?
I'm sure you can see.
Yes.
What drove me
really,
there is passion.
Yes.
It's the passion to impact life. Everybody is seeing that we need to change our thinking about agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
We've been able to show that it can be done if you want to do it. Yes, it's difficult, but can it be done? Yes, it can be done. And then the number of lives that is impacted, community that is impacted. We have 340 staff. All of them, 85% are young people below 35 years old. That's providing job opportunity for young people. And then we also have students that are coming for training. That's providing know-how for students to learn. And just a source of inspiration to young people as well.
So can you tell me like the role entrepreneurs like you play in solving the food crisis in the country presently?
Yeah, now we are looking at doing about 5,000 hectares. Out of the 5,000 hectares, about 40% is supposed to go for food. That's the contract we have with farmers. 60% comes to us, 40% they use for gari or fufu. So for as long as we continue to engage farmers, at least we are also contributing food in some way to the society. And don't forget, what we produce is basically food. It's what is used in making the beverages we all drink, the noodles we all eat, the toothpaste that we all use to wash our mouths, or the bread and biscuit that we eat, the gluten-free product that we eat. So it's food that we're actually producing. And then we also give the farmers the opportunity to use 40% of what they produce for us for their own local food consumption, or to sell as gari or fufu in some way. So we are in the center stage of helping to reduce this food crisis.
So one more question, how that name came about, the Cassava Queen?
Honestly, I don't know. I just woke up one day and I saw friends sending me posts about cassava. I said, who? And I saw myself and I'm like, how? Well, the name stuck.
Speaking with Yemisi, I realized something that I have never realized before, the role of multinational corporations. Yemisi's company attracts customers like Nestle, Unilever, and Nigerian breweries, among others. And this is one of the reasons for her success. In my mind, and I know that it's an overly simplistic thought, big corporations are bad for our planet because of their impact on the environment. But I can see now that in this puzzle, they have a role, and without their role, this sustainable circuit doesn't work. One of the people I spoke with on the ground the other day told me something about that.
So, when you look at the chain from farm to factory and beyond that, you find out that there are several actors that play critical roles in driving food security in any value chain and in a particular food system and in the country. Aside from the business champion, we have the smallholder farmers, we have the financial institutions, we have the transporters, we have aggregators. Their job is to buy from the smallholder farmers. We also have business support service providers. So the list is limitless because it depends on the type of value chain you are dealing with.
What role multinational play in this?
They play a critical role because when you look at their share of the market in any particular value chain, is large, is huge. Their role is critical in driving an efficient value chain or an efficient food sector in the country. These companies are able to invest in large scale to make low-cost and nutritious food available in the food system.
How do you define all the actors that work towards ensuring food security?
Collectively, when I look at them, I see actors who are driving inclusive agribusiness relationships. I see them as soldiers of change because they go far beyond their business model to ensure that they give back to the communities.
And here I am, outside the Nestle headquarters in Lagos, where I will speak with someone from the communications office in Nestle to get their point of view on the matter.
Hi. Hi. Good morning. I'm here to see Victoria Wadoka.
Sure, come.
All right.
Our purpose really is to unlock the power of food, to enhance quality of life for everyone today and for the generations to come. And to do that, we look at the ingredients that go into the production, and that's maybe where you'll see our engagement with farmers, suppliers, and aggregators and all of that. So from the farm to the table, what are we doing? Ensuring adequate nutrition for all life stages, produced sustainably and distributed sustainably as well. Food security is ensuring that we're able to feed ourselves today and we're able to feed ourselves tomorrow. That is food security at the end of the day. There is nothing else about food security. You talked about going to the market today and food is expensive. That is not food secure. That's not food secure because people are not going to be able to afford it. The farmers may not have enough income to plant the next season. And what are you doing? You're breaking down your food security value chain. You're breaking down your systems. You're not going to be able to feed your people. I was having a conversation with a friend and I said, oh, okay, you know, the farmers are not able to go into the farms to produce. Which production? The food that we're importing. So Nigeria is importing food. How? When we have arable farmlands and all of that, and we have certain challenges, including security or insecurity, if you want to look at it like that, that is making it difficult for us to cultivate. So everything is tied together. Food security, security of the human life, access to the farmlands, access to the right seeds, and to get to the bottom of the value chain where the food reaches the table. And so we need to increase awareness. Like if we have 2 schools of agriculture in Nigeria at least, what are we doing? How are we really, you know, exposing the young people to the opportunities that exist in agriculture? America was built through agriculture. The Netherlands is built through agriculture. Agriculture sustains a number of economies across the world where they have the opportunity.
I added people to this puzzle, but it is still incomplete. The path to food security is so long and is so complicated, but this is a path that is interesting to follow. Yes, I'm on a plane. That was a bit unexpected, but talking with people, I realized that this partnership between different actors, public and private, are a really good solution. I want to understand if this is a doable, replicable approach in other countries, even when there's a different context, different language, different background. So I'm visiting the neighbors.
Hello, Mambi.
Hello, Benson. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine too. To wish you welcome to Bamako.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you got.
Yeah.
By translate.
By translate.
Here, I met a couple of people. The one you just saw me speaking with is Mambi, an expert in nutritious food for the people at the base of the pyramid. And the partnership he's mentioning is Translate.
This partnership consists to improve the accessibility and availability to Mali and to facilitate accessibility for BOP market consumers.
And then there's Aminata, a marketing advisor that helped me understand why this job is really important.
Bon, actuellement, avec les crises qui se sont suivies, sinon avant, le pouvoir d'achat des Maliens n'est pas tellement propice pour pouvoir se procurer tous les jours du lait local. Mon rôle, c'est d'accompagner quotidiennement les transformatrices et les vendeuses de lait à avoir le marché. Et donc, on les aide aussi dans la transformation quotidienne. Les normes sécuritaires au Mali disent que chaque personne doit consommer 62,5 litres par an. Mais les consommateurs à faible revenu n'ont pas tellement le pouvoir d'achat pour pouvoir se procurer tous les jours des produits, laitiers surtout. que l'on a mis un système en place, c'est-à-dire faire des produits pour les consommateurs à faible revenu. On a conditionné des petits packaging, c'est-à-dire les sachets de 100 francs, 50 francs pour les consommateurs à faible revenu. Donc maintenant, aujourd'hui, alhamdoulilah, beaucoup de personnes quand même consomment le lait local. Et ça commence à rentrer dans les habitudes alimentaires des gens.
L'impact, il est grand. L'impact, il est grand parce que ce partenariat a permis non seulement de produire du lait de qualité et de cette production de lait de qualité, ça permettrait d'assurer de la nourriture pour la population de qualité. Parce qu'on sait que le lait est crucial pour la santé. Et ça a des vitamines, ça permet de renforcer les os, ça a plusieurs vertus. Nous avons pu rendre le lait très accessible. Avec 100 francs, 50 francs, 150, vous pouvez accéder à du lait de qualité qui est nutritif. Donc ça permet de lutter contre l'insécurité alimentaire.
Avant, la translait n'était pas connue à Bamako. Il y avait peu de personnes qui connaissaient la translait et nos points de vente. Mais avec l'avènement du partenariat, donc on a fait beaucoup de campagnes de sensibilisation et vraiment aujourd'hui la visibilité de la translait est vraiment améliorée.
Aujourd'hui, il y a beaucoup de femmes qui, grâce au partenariat, ont eu un emploi et des emplois de l'auto-emploi. Par exemple, si je prends le cas de ces kiosques chez Mme Menta, c'est son business à elle. Elle est indépendante. Et c'est grâce à ce partenariat qu'elle a pu avoir cela.
Aujourd'hui, l'inclusivité au sein de notre société est vraiment importante. Avant, la production, c'était uniquement limité au niveau des hommes. Mais aujourd'hui, il y a des femmes productrices de lait qui sont à plus de 200 litres de collecte au niveau de leur parc aujourd'hui. Sinon, avant, dans les coutumes, la femme ne faisait pas la production. La femme se limitait seulement à la vente. Avant, les femmes, quand tu faisais rien dans les familles, on ne te respecte même pas. Mais aujourd'hui, on ne te respecte pas quand tu n'as pas quand tu n'as pas de revenus. Mais aujourd'hui, vraiment, les transformatrices, elles arrivent vraiment à s'imposer, même dans la prise de décision au sein de leur famille. Et elles ont été tellement formées qu'aujourd'hui, elles sont capables même d'aller chercher des financements elles-mêmes auprès des institutions financières, sans même l'accompagnement des coachs. Donc aujourd'hui, je suis vraiment fière de ce que les femmes font.
Mali is just another country, but this idea of putting people together at different levels to push farmers to understand their financial potential, to direct businesses to take a step forward, and to have a group of experts is something that can be done everywhere. This is why I'm going to call a person in Benin. Benin wasn't classified as a country facing a food crisis this year, but many people there are still dealing with high levels of acute food insecurity. This is a good example of why food security needs to be addressed simultaneously in multiple parts of the world if we want to achieve real change in the society. Good afternoon, Nina.
Good afternoon, Benson.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine. She is Nina, and she works in a partnership called Promo Fruits, which was initially established with the help of 2SCALE, but now operates independently, thanks to the capacity built on the ground. As a coach, she demonstrates another role that is fundamental in empowering farmers.
En tant que coach à Promo Fruits, d'abord nous avons des formations que nous faisons en salle. C'est des formations théoriques sur des thématiques données. Et après ces formations, nous allons maintenant mettre en pratique sur le terrain. Et au niveau des producteurs, nous avons des champs, écoles d'abord. On coordonne, il y a les formations que nous donnons, il y a aussi le faire. C'est-à-dire, ça ne suffit pas de donner la formation, mais nous amenons les producteurs à mettre en pratique tout ce que nous donnons comme package techniquement. Donc, et après ça, tout ce qui concerne la matière première, tout ce qui concerne l'application en intrants, des intrants, tout ce qui concerne ce que le producteur doit faire de façon technique sur le champ et ce qu'il doit recevoir comme connaissance de façon technique pour améliorer sa production, afin de quitter ce qu'il faisait comme pratique paysanne et venir maintenant recevoir ce qui est comme de façon technique pour améliorer aussi sa production et ses conditions de vie. Voilà.
What is the impact of this partnership on the ground and who is benefiting from this?
Et l'impact de ce partenariat, je pense que c'est au niveau de tout, ça s'est ressenti au niveau de toute la chaîne. C'est-à-dire tous les acteurs, tous les maillons de la chaîne là ont été impactés positivement. Quand je prends l'exemple des producteurs par exemple, la qualité, parce qu'il ne suffit pas d'apporter la matière première à promo fruit. Il faut la matière première de qualité et en quantité suffisante.
I saw a lot of differences on the ground, but mainly I saw things in common. I heard people talking about food, and I got emotional about what they said. It doesn't matter their role or their way of delivering their message. Food is something that makes us all united.
Food is one of the essential services or basic needs that we as human beings cannot do without.
Pour moi, la nourriture, l'alimentation, c'est la vie parce que sans nourriture, il n'y a pas de vie. C'est ce qui permet d'alimenter nos cellules et qu'on puisse faire ce que nous faisons qui fait que nous restons en vie. Sans nourriture, pas de vie.
There is one thing to fill the belly with what is available. There is one thing to eat food. Food nourishes, food builds, food sustains. It has to be nutritious. That means it has to feed your cells.
L'aliment veut dire pour moi c'est une source de vie. Quand on n'est pas alimenté, on ne peut pas vivre. Sans l'aliment, on ne peut pas vivre.
All the people on the ground seem to have reached the same conclusion. The entire chain has to work together. Without creating partnership, there is no future. And these partnerships need to find their solid base in a sustainable business model. Businesses could drive our agriculture. Change, doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process. Many people are involved in this process, but they don't have to stay involved forever. There are mediators and NGOs that can support, but what I learned is that they are just the initial push. If we want to win this fight for food security, this should be our fight. The fight for the people, not the organizations. The more I look at this board I created, the more I understand what Maxwell said. He called his business champions food soldiers. And there's something poetic about that. This puzzle I put together is complex and unfinished, but it's indeed full of food soldiers. Each of them can be defined this way, and there are so many more out there. They are all fighting for something big, something communal, something good. I don't know if a solution for food security exists, but I know that if it does, it lies with the people and in collaboration between them. We are the change. Whether we will win, I don't know yet, but I have great hope in the people. So let's keep fighting.
All right. Well, I think that deserves another round of applause, doesn't it? Wonderful. I think Alessia might have felt that love, and also a very powerful way to conclude on that food soldiers, something poetic. I love that. All right, so going on and moving on to make sure that we keep the program within its time frame. We have, of course, various business champions of 2SCALE. And if to be correct, we all have our badges, and you can connect with our various business champions of 2SCALE by obviously minding the badge that we all are wearing. And it also displays a little country flag to indicate where they're from. So right before you start, you'd be like, Français? Nederlands? Okay, so that you can kind of measure how to start on the conversation. Either way, what we're trying to say is that on comes an opportunity to network and really, really take that opportunity. As we wrap up the official opening and enjoy some quick refreshments, I encourage you to also snap a selfie with one of the business champions and use, again, the hashtag #JoinTheFoodSoldiers as an interactive way to keep the conversation going. And of course, also supporting your mission, my mission, both of us to network and to get to know each other. We're going to take a short break. It's 15 minutes. And as we also ask you to reflect on this, how have we contributed to our collective journey towards sustainable food security? What small actions can we take to support one another and foster community-driven solutions? Well, let us keep these reflections in our mind and, of course, keep the conversation going. One side note, if you, of course, have some sweet coffee or tea or anything of that, do keep the cups out there. We have to make sure that we keep this room cup and glass free as much as we can. So even if you have yours and you can take it back, that would be wonderful. All right, so let's go on. Is it still 15 minutes? Yeah, 15-minute break. Have a drink, have a chit-chat, and let's be back within 15 minutes. Thank you.
Niyawabona la mantombazana, niyawabona la mantombazana, niyawabona la mantombazana, awolo lo sebekwela umkhumbi kalowa, niyawabona la mantombazana, niyawabona la mantombazana, niyawabona la mantombazana, awolo lo sebekwela umkhumbi kalowa, ayaqathaza la mantombazana, eshe awala umfula awalela ngaphesheya kolwandle. I'll step aside while I was silent, awolo sebekwela umkhumbi kalowa, ayaqathaza la mantombazana, awala umfula awalela ngaphesheya kolwandle. I'll step aside while I was silent, awolo sebekwela umkhumbi kalowa, kungane hamba kanjena, awungamandla kaThixo kodwa njena, ngakho siyabonga, sibonga umdali wethu, kungakho kunje, asiyahamba amazwe onke ngenxa yomdali, umdali wethu halala ngaye, siyambonga halala. Awuyiwe la mantombazane, ahambile umhlaba wonke, mapeshu itangane bo aweshe ela mapeshu itangane sikhamazisa ikali zethu elele matoto ela mapeshu itangane bo Intombi yakankosi lami nomnene sidlula dende sakanobamba donga lamavusa kangwane sine bomshengu ushabalala sithi siyadla siyabadlubulisa sine saqedza libombo ngekuhlehletela awu siyabonga mangwane sibonga nina bokuhlehletela njengenkomo inkomo la ihlehlele emuva sine sibakankosi sihlehletela njalo elamabheshu ithanga sikakazisa zona ikhalile mifoto elele matata elamabheshu ithangane bo elamabheshu ithanga sikakazisa zona ikhalile mifoto elele ma uthe uyayigwaza yabidlula inyama
Zamazamizo lonke yebo uyazifunda wamfake uye wangenza mna wamfake manga uye kwazamazamizo lonke yebo uyazifunda wamfake uye wangenza wamfake manga uye kwazamazamizo lonke yebo uyazifunda wamfake uye wangenza kwazamazamizo lonke yebo uyazifunda wamfaka abuyenda mama ongafele hamba ngendlela asebekhangene bodwana esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze ku abuyenda mama ongafele hamba ngendlela asebekhangene esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze ku awuyenda mama ongafele hamba ngendlela asebekhangene bodwana esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze ku awuyenda mama ongafele hamba ngendlela esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze ku awuyenda mama ongafele uye kwazamazamizo bodwana esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze awuyenda mama ongafele esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze ku awunandi lizwe lifile madoda hamba ngendlela asebekhangene bodwana esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze ku onandi lizwe liphela madoda hamba ngendlela esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze ku awuyenda mama ongafele hamba ngendlela asebekhangene bodwana esabi mithi lena bayenza abayikwifa kuze kuse
sawubona Makelwane
inja yakho
Makelwane
inamazenze
Sawubona Makelwane
inja yakho
Makelwane
inamazenze
Sawubona Makelwane
inja yakho
Makelwane
inamazenze kanti futhi
baba
isilumile kanti futhi
baba
isilumile
Ajumba 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 Ajumba
Futi Baba isilumile Gadi futi Baba isilumile
Sawubona Makelwane
inja yakho
Makelwane
inamazenze
Sawubona Makelwane
inja yakho
Makelwane
inamazenze
Sawubona Makelwane
inja yakho
Makelwane
inamazenze kanti futhi
baba
isilumile kanti futhi
baba
isilumile ayasiluma yasiluma mazenze ayasiluma yasiluma mazenze ayasiluma yasiluma mazenze ayasiluma yasiluma mazenze ayasiluma oh makelwane ayasiluma oh makelwane ayasiluma oh makelwane ayasiluma oh makelwane kanti futhi baba isilumile kanti futhi baba isilumile Qhamngale mazweni sithathelelwe izono lwizo ujesu namhlanje wasathanda uzayidela inkani eshe
siqhamukale mazwe senzele lwizo ujesu namhlanje sathanda uzayidela inkani
thina siqhamukale emazweni sithethele lwizono ujesu namhlanje wasathanda uzayidela inkani eshe
siqhamukale emazweni senzele lwizo ujesu namhlanje sathanda uzayidela inkani
thina sithi ujesu namhlanje wasathanda uzayidela inkani wadla
ujesu namhlanje sathanda uzayidela inkani
hayi ngoba ujesu namhlanje wasathanda uzayidela inkani ejesa
ujesu namhlanje sathanda uzayidela inkani
ngiyamthanda owangifela
ngiyamthanda owangifela ngiyamthanda
Jesu lo
owangifela ngiyamthanda
Jesu lo
owangifela ngiyamthanda owangifela ngiyamthanda owangifela ngiyamthanda kangangingedwa uyamthanda owangifela ngiyamthanda kangangingedwa uyamthanda owangifela ngiyamthanda kangangingedwa uyamthanda owangifela ngiyamthanda kangangingedwa uyamthanda owangifela ngiyamthanda 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 ngiyamthanda
endaweni esakhele
ziyenzeka izinto
endaweni esakhele
ziyenzeka izinto endaweni esiyakhele ezintabeni mayelekehleni endaweni esiyakhele ezintabeni mayelekehleni
utatewe
uvukeseni ayekotheza
ubaba
uvukeseni athatha imbazo ayekogawula
umama
uvukeseni athatha igeja ayekohlakula
lapha kwaZulu
abanye sebeze bayithola impucuko thina sisadla ngoludala 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 abanye sebeze bayithola impucuko thina sisadla ngoludala
Himbube le, himbobe, himbobe mama, himbobe, himbobe mama, himbobe, himbobe mama, himbobe, himbobe le, himbobe, himbobe mama, himbobe, himbobe mama, himbobe, himbobe mama, himbobe, himbobe le, himbobe, himbobe mama, 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 himbobe. Iyoleni mbube umculo wasekhaya lo iyoleni mbube khalemva umculo wasekhaya umculo wasekhaya lo umculo wasekhaya lo iyole iyolena imbube iyolena imbube umculo wasekhaya umculo wasekhaya umculo wasekhaya umculo wasekhaya lo umculo wasekhaya lo iyolena imbube umculo wasekhaya lo iyolena imbube iyolena imbube umculo wasekhaya umculo wasekhaya lo Wimbobe, 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 Bobe, Wimbobe,
Wimbobe mama we.
Wimbobe, Bobe, Wimbobe,
Wimbobe mama we.
Wimbobe.
Hey, 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 Wimbobe mama. Hey, 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 Wimbobe mama. Wee 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 wee.
Wimbobe, Bobe, Bobe.
Wee 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 wee.
Wimbobe, Bobe, Bobe.
Right. Let's go. All right. Well, here we are back again. I hope you've been able to grab some coffee to interact and do the needed networking that we, of course, fully support. All right, so for the second half of the program, we have an exciting lineup ahead, and including fireside chats, interviews and spotlight stories. Plus, we'll be launching and handing over the first copy of the 2SCALE Interactive magazine. And yes, you will be among the first to get a copy, so that's also great. But let's dive into our next session. So this fireside chat, because I think we have a lot of one-liners here. I've heard 2SCALians, food soldiers, a lot of words that we can, onward use in our for our vocabulary. So fireside chat, titled Navigating Challenges and Building Resilience in Inclusive Business Models for Sustainable Food Systems. So the moderator of this panel is the Director of Technical Expertise at SNV. With over 25 years of experience in sustainable landscape management and inclusive business, she brings valuable insight to this conversation. So moreover, the best candidate to really moderate this session. Give a round of applause for Miss Annemieke Beekmans. Oop.
Thank you. Delighted to be here, moderating the session called Navigating Challenges and Building Resilient Inclusive Business Models Needed for Sustainable Food Systems. Quite a mouthful, and one of the headliners or one-liners being used. And what we are going to do in this session is to unpack this jargon. And we do this by 4 excellent and very inspiring panelists who each bring a certain expertise to the table. And I would like to start introducing them one by one. Let me call to the chair Miss Rahel Heroui. I know we practiced the name, I might say it wrongly. Please come to your seats. Miss Rahel, she is the manager of Damascene from Ethiopia. Damascene trains women in innovative farming practices. One of the results is, for example, that they trained over 5,000 women spice producers, over 1,000 hectares brought under sustainable practices, so a very good and boots-on-the-ground experience. Thank you for joining us. From there, I would like to welcome our second panelist, Mr. Solomon Main. He is the CEO from Kenya Dairy Production. They produce a lot of dairy items, such as fresh milk, yogurt, fermented milk products. And under his leadership, the company has expanded a lot in the last years. So thank you for being with us today. I would like to go to our third panelist, Mr. Claude Savadogo. He's the CEO from Bioprotect. And Bioprotect does a lot of research and training on organic agriculture. Thank you for being with us. And then we go to the fourth panelist, last but not least, Ms. Sonja Timmer. lead region Africa for Rabo Foundation and Rabo Rural Funds. Welcome. So we have 3 business champions from 2SCALE and also from the more financial angle and enablers for business environment being brought to the table. And Sonia also has served as part of the selection committee of 2SCALE for a couple of years, so you know the program pretty well. And I'm going to move a little bit closer to all of you. And we have to navigate with a little bit of technology because we have a French-speaking panelist, and I'm unfortunately not that well in French. So we are going to do some translation. So the title of the session, what was it again? Navigating challenges to build inclusive business models that are needed for sustainable food systems. And it starts with navigating challenges. And asking you, you are closest to me, you are working with Damascene with women entrepreneurs, women farmers. What challenges do you see for them, and also the kind of solutions that Damascene is offering them?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, as you explained, we are working with women farmers. The best thing I can explain is how I get here, what is the sequence of challenges that we face. At the beginning, I'm a pharmacist and I wish to produce Ethiopian traditional beauty care products, but at the end, I end up losing the raw materials. It means it's not enough there. So I understand, okay, how can I solve these things? And I start working with the farmers. Then I was just looking for there are problems like especially resources when you think about to link what do buyers need in the market at the same time what is available there. So when I see a woman have a land which is not that much used, means that's a garden, and they have a traditional knowledge which we can develop with the training. Then if we develop that, then we can find a very good product which satisfies the buyer's need. So we start working small with 300 farmers. Then step by step I get into 5,000. Means through that we can support their livelihood without them going out for looking, sometimes they depend on, most of the women farmers depend on their husbands for the income, but here they can use the land, small land at the backyard, they can plant, we give them a seedlings, we give them a training, we give them a support with a cooperation, so they can produce and they can support themselves. And for us, they can supply us a very good standard, good quality product. Then that will be a good for the buyers, means the consumer also entertain environmental friendly, socially viable, and economically sound product at the end. So this is how we get here.
Interesting. And if you look at Damascene, this is one of your personal story as well. As at Damascene, what kind of solutions do you offer?
The solutions that we offer is using unused resources. Mm-hmm. For example, sometimes we think about big lands are a requirement for the production, but for the farmers, when I get there, especially in the southwest where now I'm working, they have a garden, which is not small land, but most of the people are just not using it that much. So when we think unused resources, there are some knowledge which they know. So when we combine that and when we add some, like for example here with 2SCALE, we support them with a good quality seedlings, with good a knowledge, so they start producing. Means with having some resources at the back or at your hand, but you need someone to support you to understand what is there, and that is the innovative way that we believe we're letting them to create self-employed women and a better income for the family. And this is how we support, and we are also benefiting with the product from them, like you know, for any good product at the end, the quality of the raw materials is basic. So we create some source of sourcing in different way, like which is already available. What is, I think it's not seen there. Like for the women, when you think about their life, they are they feed all the family. Whatever the income comes to through the women, like, which is not like, I'm not saying because I'm a woman, but it is, if income is there, then the family is benefiting. At the same time, which means think about 5,000 women farmers, 5,000 households. All these are getting money and getting that money to the family. Means small or big, it will be in the community. So that is also benefiting the economy. At the same time, we create additional exportable and even locally used commodities. The quality of the products that we produce is also one of the things that we contribute, I think.
Thank you, Rahel, and very interesting to hear these very concrete examples that Damascene is offering. And it touches upon key elements of doing inclusive business, which is a little bit different than doing business as usual. Inclusive business, talking about inclusion, and your company is really about an example on how to include women in the value chain and in the business operations. Resilient, inclusive business models. So resilience, another very challenging concept. We also saw that in the excellent movie, by the way, that was premiered here today. Solomon, your company, you have a lot of experience in identifying challenges when it comes to resilience, especially environmental shocks. Can you elaborate a little bit on the challenges you have seen and how your dairy company is addressing those?
Thank you, Big Mouth. First, let me register my appreciation for the honor to be in this panel, as we address a topic that I consider very timely and also very critical for global businesses that are represented here, my organization included. I also would want to appreciate 2SCALE, who have sponsored us, my organization, to this conference for the support that they have extended and continue extended to our organization. As you introduced my organization, I am the CEO, I'm Solomon. The organization is Kieni Dairy Products Limited. Kieni in my native language means plains, dry plains. We are in Kenya in an area that is classified as dry area, semi-arid. So as a CEO, I have witnessed firsthand how climate change is impacting businesses, especially in the agro-processing and also in the dairy sectors. And I believe that is why I'm here, so that I can also share insights into the journey that KDPL is going through in terms of adapting to the climatic shocks and changes that are happening in Kenya. Our organization collects, aggregates milk on behalf of farmers, over 5,000 farmers. We assist them in aggregating the milk. Then we process that milk and we find better markets for that milk. We have been adding value to that milk, and also thanks to 2SCALE, who have been pivotal in helping us to, or supporting us to introduce yogurt as a value-added product in our product portfolio. On climatic shocks, KDPL, or as KDPL, we deeply believe that the impact of climate change is really affecting our supply chain, our operations. It is also impacting the livelihoods of our small-scale holder farmers. And so it's something that we have grown to live with. In the context that I told you, the region we come from is semi-arid. So we have devised some ways to not only survive, but also thrive in those challenges related to climate shocks. First, what we are doing, we have invested heavily, and this is through the support of stakeholders and partners, 2SCALE included, because 2SCALE has been with us for the last 5 years. They have supported us, our partners have supported us to invest in building resilience for smallholder farmers. In terms of capacity building, we have continuously provided our small-scale farmers with capacity building on all trainings in climate-smart agriculture, where we are helping our farmers introduce, for example, modern farming or dairy farming methods, for example, zero grazing. These are some approaches or techniques that our farmers were not adopting, but through the trainings we have been able to demonstrate to them through even demonstration plots and demo farms that our partners helped us to establish. We have also been able to train them on conserving feeds. We come also from an area that has a huge acreage of land where farmers can be assisted to grow fodder. But what was happening is that these farmers were not conserving that fodder. So through our partners, we have been able to ensure or assist our farmers to conserve fodder. Related to that also, there is an issue of growing fodder, but also I say there's a dry area, so there is no water. All water is limited. So we have also been, through our partners, helped these farmers acquire water conservation equipment. Those are the tanks. We have also, through our partners, helped our farmers adopt irrigation techniques. That is on the trainings that we have taken them through. On animal husbandry, how do they look at their cattle? Because we also come from a place where cows are grazing outside. So we happen to have very high quality milk, or the capacity or the potential to have high quality milk. So we are also training our farmers on that. Also, we have been able to, through our partners again, in the operational area in the organization, we have been able now to start transitioning to using innovative production methods. For instance, we have started now integrating like steam in our operations compared to the convention, the electricity. We have started now also transitioning to adopting solar in terms of lighting and also in our production processes. I think what stands out in the area of climatic shocks for us is how we need to innovate each and every day. Because it's something that we are living with, it's something that is not technical. So each and every day we are looking at ways on how we can innovate around the challenges that climatic shocks bring. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Solomon. In your, especially in the examples that you gave on how solutions are available to becoming more resilient when it comes to climate shocks, and the need to be continuous, innovative in it. So we talked about social inclusion, we talked about climate and climate shocks and how to become resilient to that. Our third panelist, Arsène, he is the CEO of BioProtect. And BioProtect provides a lot of training and research on how to become, how to enter into organic agriculture. And BioProtect Enterprise has made important strides on improving household nutrition through organic products. And nutrition, we also saw that in the movie that was premiered today. Nutrition is so key when we talk about sustainable food systems. So I would like to ask Arsène to elaborate on what strategies and practices have you built or have you been able to build around nutrition and resilience. Let me just get this on.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Alors, comme vous l'avez si bien dit, il faut justement aller vers des systèmes alimentaires qui prennent en compte les aspects nutritifs, mais aussi les aspects de préservation de l'environnement.
And also environmental aspects, because we only have one planet Earth, we have only one land, one soil, so if it deteriorates, we will not have anything to eat. So how do we work in BioProtect?
En relation avec les agriculteurs.
We want to keep a link with the agriculture,
yes,
with the farmers.
Sorry.
Yes, for the translation. So I'm not sure if everybody has a translation or it will be translated. Okay, good.
It's okay now? Okay. D'accord. Merci. Donc, je disais tantôt qu'il est important de tenir compte de la qualité nutritionnelle des aliments que nous consommons, d'une part, mais d'autre part aussi préserver les ressources,
but we need
le sol,
also to
l'environnement,
protect our
pour que les
resources, the
générations
environment,
qui
our
vont venir
soils,
après nous puissent
so
savoir
that
de quoi
the coming
continuer
generation
à se
will be
nourrir
able
dignement et
to also have
correctement.
access to
Donc, pour cela, pour
quality
arriver,
food.
comment nous fonctionnons,
So how do
d'abord,
we
c'est en
work
restant
at
en
BioProtect?
contact
First,
avec les
we
agriculteurs. Ça, c'est très
keep
important.
our link with
Rester en
farmers.
contact avec
This
les
is very
agriculteurs
important.
afin de pouvoir leur offrir
Our
justement
goal is to be able
l'appui
to
technique,
offer
les
them
dont ils
the
ont
support,
besoin pour
the technical
adapter
support
leur
they
système
need
de
in order
production,
for them to
pour
be able
passer
to
des modes
adapt
de
their
production qui utilisent
production
des intrants chimiques et
system
synthèses qui sont parfois très
to
polluants et
transition
très
from
nocifs, et
chemical
parfois qui sont utilisés
fertilizers
sans respecter
that
les
are
conditions
used
des délais de
without
récolte,
respecting
etc. Donc, rester en
the
contact par les
prerequisites.
aspects de
So we want them to
renforcement des
transition
capacités
from
d'appui
that
technique,
to a
mais
more
aussi rester en
sustainable
contact avec les
system.
agriculteurs
And we also
en
want
mettant à leur
to keep our
disposition
link
des
with the
intrants
farmers
organiques adaptés à
by
leurs besoins.
giving them
Les
inputs
exploitations
adapted to their
agricoles
needs.
au Burkina sont de très petites exploitations agricoles.
Our
et parfois, les femmes qui travaillent avec nous
farms are very small farms, and the women that work with us can work with only 100 square meters, so they need to have inputs adapted to their revenues and to the surface they are working on. So we are working on that through the clusters that you have seen in the movie, and there are several topics that are important related to that subject. And we also need to keep a link with the consumers, because they will drive changes. They are aware that they can have an impact on the farmers' choices. They will drive changes. So we are talking a lot to the consumers through our activities, by actions with the consumers and the farmers, so that they can realize that the farmers are making efforts, and so that they can keep supporting those producers. We also need to keep a link with the consumers, so that the consumers can adapt its purchase power to the needs. So you know that this context is very difficult at the Burkina Faso, and we are facing a rise of prices, and there is also a security crisis that is rendering very difficult to have access to food. So if a consumer wants to have access to good quality food, it is very difficult, and for that we need to adapt the offer. We need also to develop partnerships with other firms, with farmers that are working in similar activities, so that the consumer can have access to different types of products, of organic products, affordable products.
Thank you, Arsène. And I know it's in terms of logistics, maybe challenging now for those who didn't have headsets, but I hope the message came through. So thank you for your examples, and especially the concrete solutions around nutrition, especially the part of production, making sure that nutritious food is produced in the right way, and working on awareness with consumers. And you ended with the key aspect of partnerships. So that is also a good bridge to our fourth panelist, Sonja, being the lead region Africa for Rabo Foundation and Rabo Rural Funds. You are a very known partner when it comes to smallholders and production and initiatives like 2SCALE. Looking at challenges again, financial challenges are often mentioned when it comes to inclusive business models and how to make them work. Can you elaborate a little bit on the challenges that you see and the type of solutions that you are offering?
Sure, thank you. Indeed, farmers face, as was mentioned in the video as well, they face numerous challenges, from accessing markets, even commercializing the crop if the productivity is there. When you're a small farmer, is not easy. Climate change effects, and other factors such as rising input prices. So in terms of financing solutions, it's not easy. It's not just about providing finance, but it's about the full package. So what we do as Rabo Foundation, we work with those inclusive agribusinesses that integrate those farmers into their business model. This is key, because they are the ones that can connect them to markets. They can provide secure offtake for their produce, fair prices, and also make sure that they're building partnerships with their clients, because finally you need all actors in the value chain. Now, in terms of what we do, so we provide loans often to relatively early stage or first time. We're a first time lender, so we would like to build a journey with them. We would like to make them grow, those that make a difference. So one of the major constraints, which is often mentioned, is, for example, the lack of collateral. The core financing need of many enterprising, and the first financing need is working capital. Well, even without collateral, it's difficult for a financial institution to provide a financing solution. But how we work, and this is actually one of our most commonly used instruments, it's what we call a trade finance or kind of value finance approach, where we very much rely on the relationship between the business, the enterprise, and its off-takers. So we finance, for example, based on contracts rather than on hard collateral. And this could often be an opening for an enterprise to access financing, and especially also those enterprises that are integrating their farmers into their model, because they're providing, for example, advances to the farmers. They can provide timely payments. What is another challenge, and what we do as well, is those inclusive agribusinesses. They often do more than the conventional ones, and that comes at a cost. It's very important to realize that finally they're competing. We can have all those impact targets, but if they cannot compete, in the long term, it's not sustainable. So what we do in terms of creating impact, we try to identify where the gaps are when working with their farmers, and how we can create an impact on a farmer level by providing technical assistance. Think about, indeed, climate-related challenges. How can we work together in building solutions for their farmers to make sure that this is addressed? Can be related to soil health. It can also be related to making digitized payments. Innovation is very important. So it's this a combination of, on the one hand, providing financing solutions, loans, and technical assistance to combine both into kind of one package.
Thank you. And now I'm looking a little bit at the overall moderator of today. Do we still have time for a few questions from the room?
Just two.
Just two
questions.
And I'm looking into the light, so if it's a little bit difficult. So are there questions? We have space. Yes. No, in French is fine.
Donc, vous avez dit c'est très important de rester tout près des producteurs.
It's very important to remain very close to the producers. So how do you manage doing that? Because you are restricted by time. So how can you keep being close to the producers?
D'accord. Merci. Alors, comment nous faisons? À travers tout ce que nous avons mis des clusters. Dans ces clusters, nous avons développé ce qu'on appelle, nous, dans notre jargon, des agents prestataires de services. Ce sont des jeunes
service agents. Those are young people that were already working in the communities. There were farmers, for example, and they have a knowledge, a background in agroecology, and we use their knowledge. We give them tools, training to better help the producers, and they are a part of the community, so it creates jobs, and they are helping directly the producers. So it is an efficient way to be more resilient, and it's also less expensive for the company, and it's another source of revenue.
Thank you. So we have space for one more question, burning question, if there is. Oh. No? Okay, then I would, because we would like to make a very, we discovered when we did the prepping for today that there is a very nice bridge also with one of the following speakers. So Sonja, maybe you can elaborate on that.
Indeed, I'm looking specifically at Ruth Keynote from Shalem Investments. I think this Shalem was a good example of a collaboration between 2SCALE on the one hand, inclusive agribusiness, and a financial partner, impact finance partner. So, and it's also personally memorable to me, I must admit, because it was one of the first investments I did after making the shift from banking into the impact finance sector. So, Shalem, when being part of this 2SCALE program, Shalem used to be a sorghum trader, and they made a very important transition into an investment into a nutritious food plant, which was a very, I would say, big change of core business activities. And to make this happen, it was actually an opportunity-driven collaboration between 2SCALE and Rabo and other co-funders, Common Fund for Commodities, where 2SCALE provided the technical expertise, the market research. They also helped develop distribution channels, amongst others, which was really needed, was kind of a condition before making the financing available. So in terms of collaboration, I think a great example and a nice bridge, possibly, to the next session.
So we come to the end of this session. I would like to thank the panelists in unpacking this quite complicated title of the session, where you shared your very concrete challenges when it comes to social inclusion, environmental shocks, nutrition, getting more access to finance, and throughout all your presentations, the need to remain innovative and working in partnerships and in coordination with many others. So thank you for being here and for sharing your experiences. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annemieke, for leading that very engaging conversation. And on to the next. Of course, the bridge was made. Wonderful stories were being told, actually all the way throughout this program. I'm excited, as we are talking about the next, to introduce one of 2SCALE's business champions, or should I say 2SCALians. She is a social entrepreneur at Shalem Investment for a conversation on driving social impact and sustainable growth. She leads Shalem Investments, where she empowers over 40,000 smallholder farmers. Impressive. In Kenya, by integrating them into sustainable value chains. Her focus is improving farmers' yields, providing access to reliable markets, and uplifting rural communities, especially women and youth. So through climate change, resilience, as we spoke about earlier on today, inclusive agricultural practices, could you help me give the warmest applause for Dr. Ruth Keynote? All right. If you have a seat, yes, then I'll just join you. You're free to sit wherever. All right. All right, so just a little interaction. I think we mentioned already that we have a special hashtag for today, and join the food soldiers, of course. I'm sure that by now you have shared some online, or at least I have. I'm, a millennial. I mean, we're probably a lot part of the virtual space. Before we dive into this interview and get to talk to Ruth, let's take a moment, if we can, to capture this special occasion. So people who would love to, grab your phones, grab your phones, grab your phones. And let's take this moment to make a very good selfie. So Ruth, I'm going to take a selfie with you, and I'm honored to make a selfie with you. And don't forget to tag us if you're going to share it. Add it on Facebook. LinkedIn would be a very, very good way, because I've already seen the live posts on there. And spread the spread the word about this movement. So I'm going to take my selfie. Ruth, are you ready? All right, let's do this. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's have another one. Or let me just say like this. All right. Love that. All right. Well, thank you. I am sure that the best of selfies have been made. Thank you, Ruth, for that selfie. I'm going to keep it and store it. LinkedIn, you better be ready. All right, Ruth, thank you for joining us here on this stage. So let's get right into it. Could you explain Shalem's business model, and how does it drive sustainable growth?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I think the business model, to a large extent, has been summarized by the speakers, and thank you so much to all those who have believed in our work and supported us to be where we are. Our business model is summarized by the fact that we have Shalem and the farmer at the center. Then we crowd in all the other actors, and we thank all those investors who have invested in us. I will not risk counting them in case I leave out anybody, but it is great that Sonia is here. She has already talked about Rabobank, Common Fund for Commodities. There is GAIN, there is all those DFID and everyone who came to us to support us work with the farmers. But of great importance is this 2SCALE program, my dear. We are, and we have grown because of support from 2SCALE. Holding our head, I remember Dr. Arno, and I was happy to meet Nick today, holding my head to the Common Fund for Commodities office in Amsterdam, and them coming to us and helping us build our factory in a desert, like what I saw with the Sotri from nothing. People from Wageningen University, thank you so much for teaching us so much. So our business model has thrived because we have been meeting needs of smallholder farmers. And with the help of 2SCALE, teaching us how to do things profitably and more efficiently, we have been able to grow from an aggregator, just aggregating produce and selling to other people. Now we are able to process. So we put the farmers into groups so that they make commercial sense, so that we are not just carrying one bag of maize from one person to the other, or the sorghum. They put it together, and they have grown. Thank you, Monique. When I see you, I see a lot of hope. I assure you there are thousands who are thriving because of the sacrifices 2SCALE made at the beginning. So we are the age of 2SCALE, and we are so happy that we are no longer babies, we are soldiers, because there are several people who are depending on us. Many businesses have grown because of Shalem, and because, of course, of support from 2SCALE. Many investors have had opportunities to invest their resources, and I'm so happy that today we have Gerrit of Incluvest. Thank you so much, Incluvest, for believing in us. When Sonia talked about support for business, without collateral, I want to tell you it is possible. Incluvest has invested lots of euros in us now for working capital with zero collateral. And I want to assure you, we will pay to the last cent. Sonia is here. Common Fund for Commodities invested in us millions of shillings to put up the factory. We paid to the last cent. Root Capital trusted us when we were very small. We paid to the last cent. Rabobank, we paid to the last cent. So I want to assure investors here that the businesses working with 2SCALE are dependable businesses, because one of the things 2SCALE has taught us is that it is possible to depend on entrepreneurship, on trade, and not aid. I don't know if I've responded.
Yes, you've really responded, and I love how you take us to being at the focus on the farmers, and how that actually empowers the overall, even to business. Yes. I love how you phrase that, and you somewhat take it to a poetic route, from babies to food soldiers. Mm-hmm. We love that. That is a tweetable statement, so to say. All right. So let's talk about the social impact. I know you've touched on that, but just highlight it a bit, and the ripple effect that Shelem has had on the community.
Thank you. If you ask me about social impact, I'm very excited and I can talk for a long time. Being a smallholder farmer's daughter, going through school under very difficult circumstances, I'm so happy that now many girls, and I dare say thousands of girls, are able to go through school without carrying loads of sorghum and maize on their back to go and sell to the local trading centers, because everything is aggregated at their doorstep and Shalem picks. So we have seen lots of growth in education, health solutions. A lot of businesses started, especially by women. In the past, actually, I've said in many forums that many people didn't believe in businesses done by women. They would always think that women wouldn't be serious entrepreneurs. But we are so happy that we have mentored many along the value chain, from the beginning, agro input dealers, all the way to now the food on the table. There are many, many businesses that are thriving, that are actually opportunities for investment. Lots of impact on climate change, resilience, and many women overcoming those barriers of having no food for their families because of lots of training from SNV. They have a very good program, Crafts, where we have trained about 7,000 farmers on how to do conservation agriculture and other aspects of climate change, adaptation. So there are lots of impacts. And when I talk impact, Monique, now I'm talking 2SCALE, because I said 2SCALE, you made everyone believe in us. Yes, we are credible and we thank God for that, but you held our hands. The first trip I made from Kenya, really, was to receive an award from Rabobank, because of working with 4,000 farmers then. I'm so happy that now we are talking of 40,000 and growing. So there are, thank you so much.
Very impressive.
Thank you. There are many, many impacts. And just maybe to echo Sotre, yes, it can be done. And there is a lot of hope. So anyone who is looking to see food security improved, let's do it through private sector. Because private sector already are there. They know what they are doing. And most of them do not require a lot of external extras to move. They are already doing what they are doing. So, and that's what's the beauty of 2SCALE. So impacts are many, unless now someone maybe would like to ask me a specific question so that we do not take too long.
Love that.
Thank
Love
you.
So last but not least, just to bring this in the last couple of 2 minutes, because that's also the bit that is really interesting, is how have you been able to sustain the approach even after the exit of 2SCALE?
Thank you. You know, when one is taught and they have learned, then it is sustainable. And that is the beauty of the 2SCALE program. Like I said, 2SCALE has brought in universities like Wageningen. They have watched us work, corrected us, done coaching, and then it becomes easy to adopt. You know, even when someone is there to say you're doing well, it becomes sustainable because then you do more of what you have been asked, you've been told is working. So the farmers are in groups. They are able to aggregate their needs so that even a manufacturer like Yara or the others can deliver, you know, inputs because the farmers are asking for volumes. Farmers can aggregate their need also for working capital and can guarantee each other at the group level. So sustainability is guaranteed. We are also so happy that our farmers have become our greatest strength in terms of supply chain management. So we do not have to work so hard to clean our grain anymore because the farmers are incentivized. They know you deliver clean grain, then you earn better for it. And we have a great innovation that helps us look into the future with a lot of hope. For those who know, the staple food for Kenya is ugali. Ugali is just milled maize or corn. And a lot of the corn eaten is sifted. Sifting means removing most of the extras and leaving only with the white stuff. We have been told it's not healthy, so we are teaching nutrition, and we are seeing, in terms of food security, that the less you remove from the corn, then you retain more. So I would like to make a clarion call. If anyone is interested in supporting nutrition, we have a big opportunity to bring this nutritious product to the world, and especially to the people of Kenya, where every family at least eats ugali as a meal every day. So I can imagine if we are able to make it more nutritious, and then less of the byproducts going into waste, we are going towards food security. It is also a very climate smart food because we extrude it before milling. So it is actually like ready to cook. Because someone would say, if we are to do 100% all maize, how long will it take to cook? This one is extruded, it's milled, so it cooks quickly. Sustainability, and God has kept us well. Our children are also taking up the business. We have a good management team that is learning, business. So yes, sustainability is guaranteed. Thank you.
Thank you for taking us through those examples. Yes. All right. When they have been taught and learned, then they are sustainable. Yes. I love that. On that note, give a round of applause for Ruth. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Ruth. That was so empowering, and thank you for taking us through that. And so much valuable insights and making agriculture attractive for the next generation of agri-professionals. And I love, especially how women, farmers, focus on farmers is really incorporated in it all. All right, so we're actually, not far from the end, and I wouldn't say the end for nothing. It's just that space where we get to have a moment later on to, network and interact and all of those sweet, sweet, sweet things, and move on with the program. All right, so let me see what I have here. I have a special guest to announce, actually, and I have to make sure that I get the names right. Even as an African and knowing the versatility of our African names, it's very important that I get it right. And onward. All right, so let me see where I'm at. Where I'm at, actually. All right, so in this sense, I am now going to invite. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so I'm actually on freeze right now. We're moving on to the panel discussion. Could you give me a moment, because I just need to check on the names that I need to get. All right, so I just want to invite Mr. Nick van der Velde. Give him a round of applause. Mr. Nick, please have a seat. I was looking for that sweet introduction that I have reserved for you, but take it away.
Oh, that's all okay. I can introduce myself. I'm Nick, and I'm here on behalf of Bob Pink, one of the partners of 2SCALE, and I will be the moderator of our next session. Originally, our managing director, Emil Schmitz, was supposed to be here, but unfortunately he got the flu. But I'm happy to take over. And in this fire chat, which I will first introduce, we will explore the vital role of public-private partnerships in advancing food security and drawing, of course, on the experience of the 2SCALE program. This is a fireside chat, but I don't mind if it gets a little bit heated. So I like to also make sure that we have enough time to get questions from the audience. So please pay attention, and we'll definitely have 10-15 minutes for questions. We have a range of panelists representing the different organizations working on food and nutrition security. We have a great business champion, she's my favorite panelist, who will be the center of the discussion and where the other panelists can build upon. So, without further ado, Ms. Edith Akosa Wheatland, please come forward. Edith is the founder and CEO of Rockland Farms, as well as Rockland Meat and Eco Feeding Ghana Limited. Edith was living in the US when she heard that Kentucky Fried Chicken was opening stores in her home country of Ghana. With this opportunity in mind, she built her business plan and moved back home to found Rockland Farms in 2013. She told me she kept 6 chickens at home, which is already an enormous amount of work. When she started the business, she started though with 8,000 eggs laying hens, and by this year that has grown to 120,000. Edith has piloted a model for farmers, including women and youth, to raise chickens for meat. Her efforts have created economic opportunities for more than 9,000 farmers with small plots of maize, as well as more than 400 poultry farmers. More than 90% of those are actually women and youth. And she's also working to create small loan programs and educate women about these financial opportunities. So thank you for coming all the way here. Thank you so much. Then our next panelist is Dr. Angelika Kessler from CARE. Dr. Angelika is the program manager for West Africa coastal countries since 2020, with 20 years of experience in the region. She's working with the country team supporting 2SCALE in West Africa, with a focus on women and youth inclusion in development and humanitarian programs. Thank you so much for coming here as well. Then our third panelist is Mariette Groos from ICRA. She's executive director, and she wants to contribute to building a resilient, innovative and thriving agribusiness climate. She believes that good things grow faster with trust, and that technical interventions alone don't result in impactful projects. As process facilitator, she helps catalyzing technical interventions at scale by finding common ground, giving everyone a voice and creating commitment with everyone on board. Thanks also for coming here. Then we have Mr. Ibrahim Palas. Ibrahim is coalition builder for the Netherlands Food Partnerships, NFP. As coalition builder at NFP, he supports partnerships to explore and capitalize on joint opportunities to help make our food systems better prepared for the challenges of today and tomorrow. He just returned from Rwanda and visited the Poultry Expo, so we have a poultry expert here as well. And last but not least, we have Mr. Hugo Verkuil, Senior Policy Advisor Food and Nutrition Security at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Hugo is an environmental economist with 20 years of experience gained through postings in Ethiopia, Mali, and numerous short-term assignments in the Caribbean, Central America, Eastern, Western, and Southern Africa, and India. Interestingly, since 2007, Hugo is also running a business in Mali as CEO of Mali Biocarburant, a social enterprise that produces specialty oils from, amongst others, jatropha. It collaborates with thousands of smallholders to plant trees that restore degraded soils and provides cash to women during the dry season. Mr. Hugo, please join the panel. All right, as I said, we'll start with Edith, and we have 3 subjects to cover. The first is specifically around women and youth and livelihoods. And I would like to ask you, can you introduce a bit about your business and the scale it operates, but also how have you empowered women and youth through your agricultural schemes?
Thank you. With Rockland Group of Companies, we are into the production of commercial table eggs, commercial broilers, supporting women and youth in the mentorship program. We operate VSLA groups. We do the broiler outgrower group. We have the farmer, the maize outgrower group as well. We support the nutritional needs of our local schools. So we have 25 schools that we support them with eggs every month on their nutritional needs. And we do the alternative livelihood support for our maize outgrower farmers. And we are also into the BOP packaging of chicken thanks to 2SCALE. We started, Rockland started with 8,000 birds, like he said. It was a dream that I've been carrying since 2009. But thanks to the support of 2SCALE, we are close in achieving that dream of working with the KFC. With the impact on what we've been doing, we've been able to, we started with 30 outgrowers, maize outgrowers. But with 2SCALE, now the outgrowers that we've trained are over 9,000. And with the 9,000 and the financial constraint of Rockland, we brought in, with this support, we brought in the VSLA groups, where we group the farmers into 30. Currently, we have 200 VSLA groups. Not all the farmers are in the VSLA groups yet. With that, they are able to, they've been trained on financial, we train them on financial, financial inclusion. So they are able to contribute among themselves to grow the maize, and we provide a market for them. And the others that are not able to do it, we give them input credit where they grow the maize, and then at the time of harvest, they pay with maize. And that has really helped with our broiler project that we want to do. Piloting from this training from 2SCALE, the cost of production for raising the broilers are quite competitive. And we all know when it comes to Ghana, the importations of frozen chicken is quite high. And everybody saw it as a crazy thing that I wanted to do, producing the broilers, looking at the cost drives. But we know the market was there, but having the clear strategy on penetrating the market wasn't there. But with 2SCALE, we have found the way to penetrate into the market. When it comes to the BOP, we've been able to reach BOP over 30,000 with our 1 kg packaging model. And we used to do like a month 500 broilers, but that is not the case now. Thanks to 2SCALE, with their capacity building and everything, we are able to do 40,000 a month now, and we are able to sell. And this is 40,000 we are doing in the house. And with the capacity training and everything that has been acquired from 2SCALE, we are looking at putting up a 20,000 a day processing plant in Ghana. And yesterday I spent the whole day at a factory. I cannot pronounce the name of the town, but it was fantastic. And that is all thanks to 2SCALE. With this, we have some of the farmers, their children has been able to go to secondary school, which was not possible without the project that we did with 2SCALE. The nutritional needs of the children in the village has increased. Even the attendance have increased because of the eggs that we provide for the schools. Every kid wants a whole egg to eat. So the attendance of the schools in the rural areas have increased thanks to the project we've been doing with 2SCALE. And the smallholder farmers said a big thank you to 2SCALE, BOP, IFDC. They are very grateful. You've made such a huge impact on their life. You know, before you have people knocking on your door, even for a small, what would you say, you convert it like an euro to buy something. Nowadays, I don't get those on my door because they are sufficient enough to buy those things for themselves. They don't have to worry about where they are going to sell their produce or where they are going to get money to buy fertilizer or seeds, or how do I grow it. Before we started with 2SCALE, our yield per acre was 0.3, but now our average is more than a ton per acre. Now the women, they determine the price of the maize that I have to buy. Before it was not like that because the market was not there. But now I have to negotiate, I have to beg them to get a better price. And I'm so proud when they are doing that, because now you see women that has been empowered. With the VSLA groups that we form, you have the men behind you, because I did it for women, I'm not gender biased. But the men are joining the VSLA behind the women. It was tough getting the VSLA group set up because they were worried you're going to take their money away. I had to step aside, get the community coaches to train them. We got to a point where taking the money to the bank was also a challenge. But with the community coaches and support from 2SCALE, now they have their money in the bank and they are so happy. If you see anybody at my gate, they are only coming there with foodstuff just to say thank you, not to borrow money like before. Putting the groups together, it was like, oh, madam, are you going to give us a loan? If we are going to get a loan, then we will form the groups. But now the banks are chasing them to give them loan, and they said no. We don't need loan from the bank. We will save our money, we will borrow from our own savings and use it to grow the maize. They are able to get input credit from other suppliers because they are well organized now. They know that they will pay. Sometimes I have to guarantee for them because they know Rockland is off-taking their produce, so they are guaranteed the money. We don't pay them cash, we pay into the bank account, so everybody that needs to be paid get their money. So 2SCALE, SMV, IFDC, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that story and so much for the learnings. Yeah, I think that deserves a round of applause for putting that in action. Yeah. I will move to one of the panelists on the same subject, Angelica at CARE. you of course focus a lot on inclusion of youth and women, and Rocklands of course successfully did so, also with the VSLAs, which stands for Village Savings and Loan Associations, if I believe so. Can you explain a little bit about the work you do and how that impacts the farmers and the communities alike?
Yeah, thank you. I think it was a very good introduction and giving some details which allows to give the answer. While women are coming together or youth is coming together in VCLAs, they are joining forces, and while with these joint forces, and is a solidarity group giving out loans to themselves, so the interest they are paying on their loans is coming back to themselves, so giving them the access to finance by themselves. And then they have with this VCLA a size which makes them interesting for the private sector to be trained on how to use the right fertilizer, to do the right process. While I would have to train one farmer, it would be not efficient for the private. So bringing them together, but while they're brought together, also talking with the communities on changing social norms, talking with the couple, because now we have women having an income, as the lady said very well in the movie from Mali. While the women have an income, they can be respected. But also, if I'm the husband, how do I change my behavior while I now have a woman who is an entrepreneur? And in the beginning, small entrepreneur, but being a big entrepreneur, being even at a point that she can speak to the village chief. So also the community has to change the behavior of the village, and including women and youth to their decision, because they are becoming now entrepreneurs, they're becoming now important people. And while they participate in the decisions, then also have decisions which are on their needs, and not just in something coming from outside who decided at their position. So really bringing them, including women and youth, to the decision, to the economy, making this then, while it's owned by them, also sustainable to continue is very important. And while having the opportunity to be connected to the market, because if the VCLA stays just at the village and they are not able to sell their products to the market, therefore 2SCALE is very, very interesting in the countries where CARE managed to work together with 2SCALE being in the same intervention zone. For example, in Ivory Coast, 14 VCLAs made 35,000 euros in a few years, just due to this cooperation. So it's really very, very useful to be then connected to the market, coming to the household, so that the value chain really becomes a chain and not just a value produced at village level and then has to spoil there. Maybe I stop there.
No, thanks. Super helpful, and great to hear, to see how bottom up this work has contributed to growth. And that one, I'd like to move on to the second subject, which are the other factors that contributed to business growth. And I'll go back again to you, Edith. And can you explain a bit more what factors, partnerships have contributed to growth, and how has it enhanced, ultimately, of course, the nutrition and food security for low-income consumers in Ghana, which you already alluded to? Yeah.
When it comes to the growth, having the smallholder farmers together to grow the raw materials that is needed to make production has what has contributed much to the growth. And also being able to reach the BOP consumers, that is what has made the impact.
Thank you, thank you. Maybe I can move on to Mariette from ICRA. You mentioned that good things grow faster not through technical interventions alone. Can you provide some examples of how your approach has successfully built trust and mutual understanding among the stakeholders?
Yeah, thanks. Let me take an example from Kenya. There was a dairy producing cooperative, and they wanted to diversify also into potatoes. Well, they thought, well, we have quite a big volume, we are well organized, so let's focus directly on the formal markets, like French fries producers. But it was really hard for them to get in. So they returned to the informal market. But this is monopolized by the middleman. And I think many of you will recognize it. Middlemen, they don't have a very good reputation. So these farmers, they didn't want to work with them because they feel, the middlemen, they're sort of taking advantage. They squeeze us, we don't get a good price. So the local business support services, they went and I really felt there was some soldier work being done here. They talked to the middlemen and they didn't like this reputation. So they talked and talked, several conversations. Are you willing to connect with the farmers? And the middlemen, in the end, they agreed to outline a day of a middleman. And also, they were willing to share what are actually all the costs that we are making leading to the price that we offer to the farmers. And based on that, which was not an easy process to get the middleman showing that, farmers were opening up, okay, actually being middleman, it has an added value. It's not so easy. So first step was made, all working on the relationship, on trust. But then the middlemen were like, yeah, but why would we work in partnership with these farmers? What is there for us to win? So then again, conversation started, and the local coaches trained in this soldiers on again. And in the end, it resulted in coaching together with the middlemen, training these farmers on how to do grading of the potatoes, how to do packaging, which was normally done by the middleman. And in the end, giving and taking and especially sharing interest led to a partnership between the farmer corporation and the middleman, ending up in a 20 to 30% reduction of the price, which was then divided between the middleman and the farmers. So it was working on this relationship, on the trust that in the end made this whole partnership work, and then working on post-harvest loss and other technical issues became really easy. If you would have started there, then the results would be much slower, less resilient, and we can even question, would they have arrived at the partnership where they are now?
Thank you. Thank you, that's very clear. You already mentioned it a little bit, partnerships. Next to me is Ibrahim, working for NFP. And NFP is known for its ability to create impactful partnerships that influence both policy and practice. Can you help us understand a little bit how this works? Because partnerships can sound a bit vague. How does these partnerships support businesses like Rocklands?
Well, it's a challenging question that you pose there, because I'm afraid that first, before I can give you an answer, make it even more vague than it already is. No, but what we often do at Netherlands Food Partnership is really, because we don't necessarily support individual businesses like Edith, but rather when these types of businesses come together with other stakeholders in a sector or on a particular theme in a particular country, to really look from more of a systems perspective, look at a sector or a particular theme like saline agriculture or food losses and waste, and to see what doesn't work here as it should. And then engaging with these different stakeholders, with the private sector, with government, with NGOs, with academics, to really jointly develop a solution for that. Because what you see nowadays is really the challenges that we face often in these food systems are so complex, you can't solve them alone. You can't solve them just with private sector. You can't solve them with just academia and generate knowledge. So that's sort of what we do. And then if you talk about partnerships on practices and policies, so it depends on what the problem actually is. To also get it more closer to the specific business of poultry, for example, in this case, is we're now working in Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire with a couple of stakeholders from the private sector saying, hey, we are very dependent on imports from other countries like soy and maize from Brazil. We see that our feed prices are rising. I'm assuming that also for you it's like feed prices are probably 70% of your business, something like that. So we're really trying to see then, together with these companies, with the local governments, identifying like what could we do differently. So we have now done a scan to see whether we can get to more circular practices in Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire. And the next step is really to get together with all these parties to come up with specific solutions on how to do that. For example, producing maize and soy at home, but also looking for alternative ingredients. Getting, like, for example, waste from cassava into animal feeds to really sort of reduce those dependencies, not only for a company such as yours, but really for the whole sector in that regard.
Thanks so much, Ibrahim. Now, we talked on inclusion, we talked on capacity building, we talked partnerships, but on the subject of scale, one big word is missing, that is funding. Fortunately, we have Hugo here. Can you explain a little bit more about the Dutch government strategy for ensuring food security, and how does it envision the role of the private sector, like Rocklands, in this strategy?
Thanks a lot, and let me start by first thanking Edith and many other entrepreneurs that are here today, because I mean, she's telling a story in 5 minutes, but all the sweat and all the energy, everything she puts in making that company a success is incredible. And I know a little bit of it myself, but really congratulations on all the achievements that you're making with your company and the many other private sector companies that are here today and are part of the program. Tapping on the entrepreneurial spirit of youngsters in Africa, I think that's really a way to go. And also thanks to Monique, I'm a bit modest today. You know, you've seen that already 10, 15 years ago. You're one of the founders of this program today. Happy you're here today as well. And so, yeah, just as a starter to thank them. On our side, we are, you know, what we do is we provide funding and support. So we all know our policy, food and nutrition security policy. Today, the timing of the conference is such that we are in a situation where a new government is formed. We have seen a new policy agreement recently. The thing we know today is that food and nutrition security, as mentioned by my director, Wampi, earlier today, as well as water, are still on our agenda. So that is good news. However, we will be waiting for the policy brief from our minister that she's working on as we speak. And so how that will translate into new policy and how we can pursue our support to food in the area of food and nutrition security, that is still yet to be seen. From our side, we know we are ready for that, but let's hope and see and wait for that new policy brief.
Thank you so much. Then we'll move on to the third and last subject, and it's about the future. So let's do some future gazing and imagine what the future will entail for us. And what partnerships and collaborations do we hope to forge? Edith, again, starting with you, what are your plans for future enhancing the sustainability and scalability of your operations, and who do you think you need for that?
Oh, thank you. Currently, I've started a collaboration with Cowdice and Kuipers. I used to import my dairy chicks from Hendrix Genetics from here. But since the setup of Kuipers in Ghana, we are not importing the dairy chicks anymore. The quality is the same. You are able to save on the forest exchange. And when it comes to Cowdice, without using our own feed ingredient, you will have to go to maybe 8 weeks or more to be able to get the required weight for us to do the cut-up for the chicken. But with collaboration with Cowdice, we are doing 6 weeks, 3 days, which reducing the cost of production, and the margins for the outgrower farmers have gone up. Even though this year we were hit with drought challenges with maize shortage, but because of the collaboration with Cowdice, farmers are still able to make some margins, and we are still able to run the company. We are looking for funding to set up a big processing factory, because through the training with 2SCALE and everything, we've realized that to be able to make our company sustainable and also able to create more jobs and maintain the farmers that we've trained, we have to increase the volume of the production that we are doing. We have to upscale. And with 2SCALE, we've been able to develop the market. Selling the chicken that we are going to produce is not going to be a problem. 2SCALE, we are very grateful. Thank you for the capacity building. Even when 2SCALE is not around, the training that they've given us, we can sustain it if we can get the right funding to produce in volumes. And it's not just the funding that we are looking for. I know when it comes to poultry, you talk Dutch. They have the expertise, the know-how. We'll be looking to see if we can get somebody to partner, not just bring in the money, but also bring in the ideas, the knowledge. That is what 2SCALE have taught us. When I started the poultry, it's something that I've never done before. I didn't learn it from school. I had to learn it as I go along. But 2SCALE, they've given me so much that if I have to talk about it, we will sit here all day. And I remember when they came to Ghana, the first time they met me, and with the farmers, all we were telling them that, oh, we need money. We were looking for money. Are you bringing us money? But when we had the first meeting and we did the diagnostics, we realized that it's not the money that we need. It's market that we need. The knowledge how to penetrate into the market. And 2SCALE gave us that. Thank you to Team 2SCALE. We are very grateful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's okay to applaud once more. And just before we give it to the audience, I kind of know. Can you share a bit about how big your ambitions are? I remember something that you want to turn your monthly volume into daily volume. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we started with 100 birds, 500,000, now 40,000. Our ambition now for next year, we are looking at processing 6 million birds a year. And for the next 10 years, I know nobody can kill you for dreaming big. We want to produce 20 million birds a year. That is the dream for the next 10 years.
Wow. All right, then I ask someone to help to bring the mic in the audience, because I like to make sure that we have some time, especially some questions perhaps on, how that scale can be achieved, maybe some questions on EDIT, but also the organizations, how they think they can be part of this. Any questions from the audience on these matters? You do need to raise hands. Nick van Dijk, do I see you raise a hand? No? Can we also wrap up timing-wise? Otherwise, I can think of other questions. Yeah, management says yes. So we can catch up on time. Thank you all for joining this session, and thank all panelists for being here with us today. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, Nick, for leading that wonderful discussion. And I love that there is so much storytelling throughout the program, where you have examples and documentary and people that have actually true stories of how, the program overall 2SCALE made them look different. Because as we know it a lot, at first hand we think money, money, money is what we need. But if we zoom in with the right guidance, then we know exactly access to market, access to, and so on. I love that. All right. And thank you, of course, all panelists for joining in and sharing your knowledge. So I'm excited to introduce our next speaker and also excited that we kind of caught up with time. He is head of dairy development at Friesland Campina, WAMCO, who will share a spotlight story on investing in youth in agriculture. He oversees local raw milk collection and farm development in Nigeria and brings extensive experience from the FMCG industry, so fast moving consumer goods, along with collaborations with international markets and partners. He's passionate about empowering youth and women in agriculture, sustainability, and driving impact projects such as the Dutch FDOV and BMGF dairy initiatives in Nigeria. Give a round of applause for Mr. John Olayiwola Adekunle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Of course, my name is John. I head the dairy development. I would like to share a bit of our stories. Of course, working with 2SCALE, and of course, with the support from the Dutch government. So I'd like to have a slide. I just wanted to show you something about what we do as Friesland Campina. And I titled an inclusive approach. Yes, we're talking about youth here, but I'm talking about an inclusive approach that we've taken as Friesland Campina. Okay. So you look at what is happening. Hank is a favorite of seeing this most time when he visits Nigeria. And this is one thing that has impacted a lot of youths in these villages. For us, dairy development, we start by building a dairy value chain from farm to business. And with that, we take responsibility to fill the world in a sustainable way. We started by doing this in 3 strategic pillars. First was food security. We looked at how to increase self-sufficiency of the country with locally sourced milk. And of course, we looked at improving the farmers' livelihood, improving their net income based on the dairy activities that's done in the village. And of course, the third one was the environmental sustainability, reducing the carbon footprint per kg per milk. This we did with 2SCALE over the past 10 years. I'll briefly say this because I have short time, but if you look at what we've done, what I'm saying short, it's actually a very impactful story that has helped Nigerians. If you look at what has happened, with 2SCALE, we were able to build capacity of farmers. We work with about 13,500 farmers today, youth and female, youths and women inclusive. We did all that, and this is what has happened over these years. You've seen that we have moved from 1 milk collection center to about 30 milk collection center in 8 states out of 36, evaporizing Nigeria with this. What have we also done with 2SCALE? We've been able to build milk collection center, like I mentioned. We are able to improve the quality of milk. If you look at what's happening today, in Nigeria, we have the best quality of milk via this program. We brought it down from 5 million CFU to less than 400,000. And we are still doing better off today. And we still do that. And we've collected over 40,000 liters at the peak season per day using this model. As 2SCALE has supported Friesland Campina in. We co-created it together, and we are working with a lot of youths and women to get this in this value chain. And like I said, this is done in everywhere. If you look at what we have done with 2SCALE to be able to get this done, we were able to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goal by 1, 2, 5, 8, 12, 13, of course, 17. What strikes me more is that we are improving the yield of farmers. From 1 liter, we're able to get 8 liter cow producing now, and then we are moving to 10, 12, 15, looking at this process. And of course, solar power boreholes were built in this community. All this we'll be able to do with 2SCALE over the few years that we've been working together. The picture speaks itself. I don't need to explain all this. Capacity building was something very important we need to do to be able to collect this milk to use. And this, you see it. It happened with 2SCALE. We were able to have formed cooperatives. Cooperatives were formed. Today we have over 30 cooperatives working in different states. And you see, this is real life pictures. They are able to become self-cooperative that run themselves, different models going on. And of course, women. Very important, the women they had their own voice. Thanks to 2SCALE. Before now, if you go to a pastoralist, the Fulanis community, you can never talk to the women. That's the culture. But the reverse is the case. Today, with that approach, the women are now chairmen, presidents of cooperatives, and they speak for themselves, and they make a lot of money with that. And you can see, very important, the Dutch are known for this, food quality. This is part of the transfer that's happened. The food quality that you see today, is the standard, is also part of what we've done together with 2SCALE to get to the next level. You see all this, it happens. You see youths are in training, women are in training, and of course that collaborative I was talked about, the partnerships is working, where you see a lot of Dutch people with knowledge coming to transfer knowledge to our farmers, and of course even colleagues and myself. We also gathered to get this. These are impacts that we've seen over the few years that has helped our mission. And you can see this picture speaks a more simple approach. Yes, we come with the knowledge, but we localize what we learn to be able to get it. This is what 2SCALE has done over the few years with Friesland Campina, co-creating a very simple model that can be scaled all over the country without using too sophisticated equipment. These are things that we have done over the years. And of course, I like to pause here to look at this product. It's very important when you talk about sustainability or food security that you're able to look at from farm to the table or from farm to the factory. This is a product that I think we should all be proud of. It's a product from fresh milk over the 10, 12 years that we work with 2SCALE. Before now, it was just evaporated milk, of course, bean fluid from Holland and also the flour powdered. But this I call a new innovation. We're able to develop products from the fresh milk, from availability of fresh milk. And this is it's peak yogurt. I like to call it royal peak yogurt because it's very important that it's there. And the second product you looked at, there's BOP here. Bob Inc. is here. This is bottom of pyramid. This factory can never run without fresh milk. You cannot mix powder with it. It must be local milk before it can run. That's Nunu product. It's a drinking yogurt, first of its kind in Nigeria that runs on local milk. And I call it local for local. And this is an example of what we want to see, scaling up what 2SCALE has done with Friesland in the country, where you're able to utilize raw milk wherever you find it. There's a modular plant that produces this, but it purely runs on raw milk. If there's no raw milk, the plant will not run. And that's what I call sustainability and helping people. And of course, I start with myself, and I call you a top diamond. If you look at me today, I started as a milk collection officer with this program. Today, I'm head of dairy. You see what this can do to us? 12 years ago, I was a very young chap. And I say it's an example of time diamond. I'm speaking to you now because I'm very happy. I'm passionate that I could end up having a product that is called peak yogurt from the little experience that we work together. And this has happened. And I said, look at this. Nigeria is, if you know, the most populous African nation. Over 200 million. 70% of these 200 million, they are youths. And about 40% of them are below 30 years old. So if you look at what we are doing today, if we look at Nigeria as a whole, as an example of the African continent, the country that you find us here is full of diamond that's untapped. The potentials are there. Look at this young man. This young man just graduated from the university. And he's already owned about 10 cows. It tells you what the Dutch government is doing. At this point, I want to say thank you to the Foreign Affairs Ministry for helping us this. Many of these guys are having crossbreed cows and able to feed their families. Some are even getting married with it. The youths are beginning to develop skills in terms of milk collection, in terms of fodder production and all that. Look at that young lady. Many years ago, a lady cannot do crossbreeding. This lady leads the artificial insemination technicians. Today, we have young women, young ladies doing this in the village and making money from these services. And of course, you see what it translates to. Let us all nourish Nigeria together, nourish the future together, and help. And this is a point, I want to call this attention to everyone that we have just started. 200 million By 2050, it's estimated to be about 375 million. And that tells you, if the Netherlands can feed the world, if you support us to get to this, then the continent really needs a lot of support from donors, from ministries, for whoever, knowledge transfer. We need you to help invest in our culture. So support 2SCALE. I'm hoping that 2SCALE can help scale us and scale more in the country, and also for other donors, wherever you find yourself. Not only the dairy sector, the livestock sector is different. You also have the root and tuber. We saw Yemisi here. We need support to get all these actors together to be able to help the Nigerian youth. Imagine, out of 200 million. Today, 40% are already there. And so what that tells us is they are able to do this together. We can unwind this diamond and make African continent shine again. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, John. That is magnificent. So I would like to commend you on making sure that, the hashtags and everything continues. Because even as I look on LinkedIn, and yes, I peek here and there a lot, you can definitely all see the posts that are running through from yourself, from 2SCALE itself, and just flowing and going. So it's a real good way to keep the conversations around food soldiers going, and of course see how more this will create opportunities and conversations, opportunities, business, money, access, and so much more. So thank you for that. And of course, keep the hashtag alive, keep tagging it away so that, of course, we see it back on the timeline and we see how this event here, a symposium in the heart of The Hague, is having its impact also all around the world. Thanks for that. So we have reached another moment where we're a proud moment where we get to share another thing where you can get to peek into this program, the impact, supporters, facilitators, alumni, and so much more. So I'm going to invite a special person for that. And as we have arrived at the final stage. So we are going to talk about a very interactive magazine. So it's 2SCALE's own. And who better to introduce it than Mrs. Marina Diboma herself. Give her a round of applause. All right.
Thank you very much, Agustina. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. As I stand here, I have a feeling of déjà vu because 7 years ago, I joined a 2SCALE event as the moderator. So I was playing the role of Augustina. And I also facilitated the handover of a book. So to share the experience, the insights, the lessons learned, the challenges of phase one, everything was brought together in a book. For the 12 years, we, of course, with the team, when we sat down to discuss what we were going to do, sometimes it's very easy to just go to what you're used to do, to develop another book. But we were challenged by our supervisory board and by also Hank sitting here, and also the ministry, to think of a way to make it accessible, because we deal with different type of audience, actors, but everyone is very well connected through their phones. So we had to come up with an idea of something multimedia. And so we decided, of course, to make a movie, a documentary you just watched earlier in this afternoon. But the documentary as a standalone will not be enough. Those who have been familiar with 2SCALE know that 2SCALE as a program produced a lot of knowledge products. Pages of stories, of articles, of a lot of research, action research done. So how do we make sure, and also videos, how do we make sure that through the product that was going to be developed, that everyone gain access to these valuable insights? So that's how, next to the documentary, the idea of having an interactive magazine was born. And we call it an interactive magazine, you will see shortly. That because it's a magazine where you can have access to videos through our YouTube channel, articles on our websites, on our LinkedIn page. So you will find QR codes, hyperlinks, taking you to all these different channels to read about, to watch about the work of 2SCALE. You've listened to different stories this afternoon, but there are so many. And we will love everyone to really gain a deeper insight on the work that has been done by the 2SCALE program, but more important, by the actors on the ground. And before I move on to inviting one of my colleagues here to join me on stage, I would also first like to thank the communication team of 2SCALE for the work done to put this together. And of course, for all the other colleagues who have been involved, and also to Macmillan the media, who also made this come to reality by taking over everything that we were suggesting. So,
Right.
Without any further ado, are you ready? But not ready for you to see the magazine yet. The next part of this introduction, I would like to invite Umu Kamara. She's the chair of the supervisory board of 2SCALE and vice president program and projects at IFDC. Please give her a warm applause. So it's now time for me to hand over to you the very first copy of this interactive magazine. Yeah, I hope you will be proud of the work that we've done as a team, and yeah, enjoy the reading. Now, another special guest I'm going to invite here, Hugo Foucault, Senior Policy Officer at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Please give him a big hand too.
Here you go.
So I would like to invite you both to say a few words. Ladies first. Thank you, Hugo.
All right, thanks, Marina. Okay, so yesterday when the team informed me that I had to say a few words and receive this, I was like, they're setting me up to receive on stage at the film house, so I'm on record, 12 years of knowledge. 12 years of developing inclusive agribusiness. It's a gold mine. As a food soldier, this is my dream, right? And this is a lot of knowledge that we're going to equip the next generation of scallions, the next generation of food soldiers with. As Dr. Rufa said, once you are taught, once you have learned, then it is sustained. And we are in the business of sustaining impact, achieving impact at scale and sustaining it. And so I welcome the challenge. I'll say, watch me and watch what I do with it. But I want to share the challenge with Hugo and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's our collective responsibility, and we can deliver.
Yes, thank you. Yes, sir. So, Augustine, Marina, and before I do my speech, as you mentioned earlier today, let's do a lot of media. Let's do a lot of selfies.
Yes.
And so, what I would like you to do again, take your phones,
all right.
And please, if you come a bit closer, make a picture of the three of us. And share this interactive magazine through all your postings. And I'll explain later why that's important. So let's take a bit of time. Yes, the selfie, here it comes.
There you go.
Wow. I don't know, it's not the Oscars, but...
Feels like it.
It feels like it. So very happy that, and please, not only take the photo, but I hope you also then use your channels. I will ask later, I will use it on my LinkedIn channel as well. I don't know, I don't have many followers, but... but I will be followed, but I will be posting, and so please do so, because all the good work we're doing, it needs, we need sharing of what we're doing. We need not only us, but we would like to know all of Holland, all across the world. People need to know what we're doing. If we want to have support for our work, and our minister mentioned that as well, you know, we should have a more specific effort to really go out and tell what we're doing and why we are doing it. I think today is an example of why we are doing it. And je dis ma sœur. I say my sister. For those of you who don't know me, my wife is Malian, so that's why I can address her as such. I'm very happy and very honored to receive this booklet today. I think it's the fruit of a lot of work of many people, and I think it also shows how many entrepreneurs are there. And so when we think about sustainability, it's because there's individuals that think about, okay, what dreams do I have? We hear the dream today. I don't know, 20 million chickens, that's a lot of food. So I'll come one day to Ghana. I'll be there soon. I'll come and taste your chicken. But there's many other business opportunities. I can talk about it because it's mentioned. I have a company as well. Even within the ministry, there's people that having companies. So nothing to be shy of. That's what my minister said. And yeah, I think it's important to have people with mud on their feet and really making that difference, seeing the opportunities and generating capital, investments, building these partnerships, because that's what we need. That's how we will advance together. The Africa strategy, which is still a very, very valid strategy, is a strategy where we join hands in order to advance together. So I'm happy to be here today. Thanks again for 2SCALE. Thanks for you to handing me the first copy. I will read it later, share it with my children, and good luck to you.
All right.
Thank you very much, Hugo and Umu. You are definitely also food soldiers. Huh? So thank you very much for your words. I would like to invite you to kindly leave the stage. And you're wondering what is going to follow next?
Yes.
Now, we don't have a drum here where we can go like... da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Are we ready? And you have your phone ready? Can I have the QR code on screen? There it goes. So you can all download this magazine and enjoy reading. But for now, I will hand over again the mic to Augustina. Thank you very much for having me. And give yourself a big hand for being such a proactive audience throughout this launch of the magazine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Marina. All right. Well, that is a really, really, really powerful way, and it emphasizes how important it is to share, to spread the word, sharing, 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 because you never know who would, like to return to the information and find out what was the impact, how does it look like, how does it feel like. So a really interactive way with a selfie included that we were able to engage in that. Thanks so much. All right, so we have reached the closing of today, and I'm going to give the floor to Vice President for Programs and Projects at IFDC. Give me a round of applause for Dr. Umu Kamara.
All right, so they've asked me to close, and as a food soldier, I'm gonna keep it short. I won't stand between you and interacting with each other before we call it for the day. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone. I mean, Monique does not remember me, but you do? Okay. All right, so since, I don't know, 2011, I'm a baby of IFDC, baby of 2SCALE, learning with the team, learning with Arnaud, Rob, Monique, the different sessions we have in the different countries, Nairobi, Kenya, to get this going. And as I listen today to the different champions, and this is what drives us. When a champion says there is impact, and I'm dreaming big, nobody can kill me for dreaming bigger and having dreams. And when I hear champions talk about sustainability, I mean, this is priceless to me, and this is why we are doing what we are doing. We want to see impact. We want to keep transforming lives. We have 10 billion people to feed. As the queen of cassava says it, it can be done. It won't be easy, but it can be done. So let's go. Let's get it done. I think we have all the tools, we have the knowledge, and we have the drive, so the power. And I think we can do it, and together we can. So I would like to thank all the farmers, all the private sector, local and foreign, all the agribusinesses, all the 2SCALE team from the beginning to now, the partners, ICRA, SNV, Bob Inc., CARE, all of you. If I forgot anybody, it's just oversight. But so many people to thank. We have come this far together, and we can go further together again. And thank you for the opportunity to close this event. And this is just the beginning, so let's get it done. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that closing words, short but sweet and very powerful. Thank you, Dr. Kamara, and a heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here today. And whether in person or online, hundreds tuning in as well, as we engage in this vital conversation about promoting inclusive agribusiness with 2SCALE. And for those of you who are attending in person, so for those of you who are here, you are invited to join the networking space afterwards, where we have coffee and tea, this time drinks and bites included. So this opportunity to connect with fellow guests and of course our business champions. So I hope that we will be using these words, 2SCALians, food soldiers, all of these new words that have come alive today. So if you tuned in online and found something that resonated with you during today's discussion, again, share it. Post your favorite quotes or key takeaways on the social media. And remember to use the hashtag join the food soldiers. And let's work together to spread knowledge and inspiration far and whole. And this invitation goes out to our lively in-person attendees as well. So you still have opportunities to make selfies. All right. Thank you once again. For those of you who are wearing earpieces, you know the interpretation that you have been listening to, please hand in the headset as you return where you got it so that we can make sure that we collect them all one by one. Also the magazine, don't forget to spread it and all of that as well. We've reached the end, well not entirely the end because there's still some networking to do. Thank you for your undivided attention. And of course, from me to you, your host, thank you also for your undivided attention. All right.
Undaba ngazidlise lonke inkomo zamadoda ume ngahlasi bathanda bangazidlise lonke inkomo zamadoda bathume ngahlasi